Who's all out there tonight? Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Hey, how's it going, Charlie? Hey, how's it going, HRAS? I love you too. What's up, Emma? Smiley face right back at ya. How's it going, Tanisha? What's up, Lucy? How's it going? Thank you so much, Tanisha. Appreciate that. Hey, how's it going, Rachel? How's it going? What's up, Meg? How's it going, Kara? What's up, Avo? What's up, Mohammed? How's it going, Ivy? How's it going, Annie? Thank you so much, Harris, and thank you so much, Tanisha. Appreciate that. I'm doing pretty well, AG. Doing pretty well. Pretty well. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. Miss Jamie, thank you so much for the dolphin. Hey, how's it going, Lenny? What's up? How's it going? How's it going? How is everyone doing? What's up, Dread? What's up, Diver Life? How's it going, Jesse? What's up, McCream? What's up? What's up, Islamic Apex? Oh, you want to be risen? Okay. Okay. Any advice for people who are new to debating? Just debate more. Hey, how's it going, Islamic?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing well. How old are you?
18,
And what year were you born?
2005.
Okay, what's your strongest argument for the existence of God?
Usually talking about how everything is contingent, kind of refuting the fact that there can be an infinite regress and or something coming out of nothing, right? So depending on the position you hold to or the one that you lean to, you don't have to choose one. Like what do you like abide
Oh,
by?
I hold the infinite regress. So why can there not be a chain of infinite contingencies?
Yeah, so like do you agree that like every contingency is going to be generated?
Maybe, sure. That sounds plausible that so there's just like an infinite chain of generation.
Sorry? Yeah, that's the point, right? So, like, if you have this infinite chain of generation, is it possible for it to go to infinity?
I mean, I hold to a B theory of time, so yeah.
Okay, what do you mean by B theory of time?
Yeah, so I think that it's not just that the present is real, but every moment is real. We observe the present to be real. We experience the present as being real. When in actuality, physics tells us pretty clearly that all moments in time are real. So there's no problem
Yeah.
with there being like an infinite number of moments of time going into the past.
Well, actually, let me give you an analogy. Like, I'm gonna bring you like two analogs here that kind of disprove this problem. Can you have an ocean without an ocean floor?
An ocean without an ocean floor?
Yeah.
Oh, so that, I mean, that's just going to be like a physical thing. Supposedly, I don't see any logical contradiction in supposing that it just goes like deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. But especially because you'd also be biting into this insofar as you think God has always existed. So what I'm doing is just cutting out the middleman. I'm saying that the universe has just always existed, whereas you think that the universe has existed for a finite amount of time, but it was created by a God who always existed. So clearly, you have no problem understanding the idea that some things have always existed.
Well, no, my problem is not things that have already been existed, right? So the problem is when you have concepts which within it are analogs, which you want to make analogies of, which are contingent and dependent, right? The thing is, God is not contingent or dependent upon anything, right? He's not really composed or made of parts. So this doesn't really, I really don't see the argument here. It doesn't really pose a analogy which disproves my claim, like, oh, you have this problem, so therefore you cannot really speak about this. You don't have a problem with things which are eternal. Well, I don't have like a problem with things which are eternal. I have a problem with things which are have an infinite chain or have things which are eternal that are composite and that are generated and that need things to be what they are. This is the thing. God is independent of all things, right? We can talk metaphysics if you want.
Oh yeah, sure. Wait, so I think that it's impossible for God to have created this timeline because I have an argument for why time must have always existed. Do you agree that a beginning is a change of states?
Well, I believe time has always existed, so
Oh, you think time has always existed, so then what's the problem?
yeah. Well, I don't think that's the same thing, right? Because what do you think time is?
I just take time to be the sequence of events and existence in reality.
Yeah. So these things are is time extramental or intramental?
What do you mean by that?
Do they exist outside the mind, or is time only in the mind, or is it outside the mind as well?
It's outside the mind as well.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't believe time exists outside the mind. I believe time is a relationship. Time is a relational slash relative term in which is relative upon individual X doing something to change their state. Right? I really don't believe it's extramental. So we really don't have the same belief about time. So therefore, there is a problem. I don't believe that my time is the same as yours. So you don't really solve the issue.
Oh yeah, wait. So do you have a reductio to my view of time?
I don't want to I don't really have to negate your thing of time, right? Some people hold to this opinion that like time has always been there, but for you to say time is extramental, again, at least have the same problem of composite slash things made of parts needing a beginning, right? But then if you have
So
this infinite regress, it becomes impossible because then there's just composite things generating each other, which is a contradiction, as I've shown.
so I think that you've actually already contradicted your God. So if time has always existed, then God didn't make the universe. The universe is composed of space-time.
No, this is a false equivocation of the word time. You don't understand what I'm saying. I don't believe time exists outside the mind. Do you understand what I'm saying? The universe is extramental, rather time is intramental. So this is a false equivocation on that word. You're using it ambiguously. I don't believe
Yeah.
that
So
you're using this correctly.
oh, wait. So I'm using it the way that I mean it. If you mean it in some other way, then you can just keep that in your pocket. Nobody's talking about that. What I'm talking about is the
No.
sequence of events that occur in reality. That's what I mean when I say time. So do
Yeah,
you
but
agree
you
that the
called me
sequence of events has always existed?
sequence have events have always existed? No.
Oh, gotcha. Wait. So then I can just give you the argument for it.
God.
Do you agree that a beginning is a change of states?
A beginning and what?
Of anything is a change of states?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so a beginning is a change of states. Do you agree that a change of states requires a sequence of states?
A beginning is going to be the beginning of the state, essentially. So it doesn't really need a chain. It's going to be the beginning of the chain of reactions.
What question did I just ask you?
Yeah, you just asked me like, does the beginning count as something? I believe that's what you asked. Like the
No,
beginning.
wait, you think my question was, does the beginning count as something? You're not listening. I'll ask the question
No,
again for you.
I was
Let's
finishing,
just try
but
to
okay.
listen this time, all right?
Okay.
So is a change of states require a sequence of states?
Change of states require a sequence of states?
Yeah, does a change of states require a sequence of states?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and can a sequence of states be traversed by anything other than time?
What do you mean by traversed?
Yeah, so can you get from one state of reality to a different state of reality with anything other than time?
No.
Gotcha. So then in order to have a beginning, time must already exist as a necessary condition, which means time itself cannot have a beginning, i.e. it can't be created, because in order for it to begin, it must necessarily exist already. So if it hasn't begun, then it wouldn't exist, but it would need to exist in order to begin to exist in the first place. So time just can't possibly have a beginning.
Good. How many times do I have to repeat my position? I believe time is eternal. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so what I mean when I say time is the sequence of events.
Okay, yeah, no. Then this would be essentially like, okay, then if that's the case, then you have like God doing some act of ex materia or something along those lines. Because I don't believe in ex materia, nor do I believe in your definition of time. Rather, I do believe
Do
that
you
time
think
is eternal.
definitions are propositional?
Sorry,
Do you think
didn't say that. Wait,
Well,
no, no,
wait.
no.
You said you don't believe in my definition of time.
Yeah,
Do you think
that's why I
definitions
don't.
are? Wait.
That,
So what do we believe in? What's
what do you,
what's the category of thing that people believe in? What's this called?
category of things which believe in?
Yeah, it's also I'll help you out. It's
I
called
mean, if you,
propositions. People believe in
okay,
propositions. If you believe something, it's a proposition. So when
okay.
you say that you don't believe in my definition, that's implying that my definition is a proposition. So I'm just asking you, do you think definitions are propositional?
Yeah, definitions meaning are they true or false? In my paradigm, yes.
Oh, gotcha. Wait. So when I say I own a Mustang, am I talking about a car or a horse?
It depends.
Oh, it depends. Wait, but I thought definitions are either true or false. What do you mean it depends?
Yeah, so the definition of Mustang, it is going to be true or false in virtue of what you're talking about.
Oh, so there isn't one true definition. It's not as if there is a true definition, but rather it just depends on what I'm talking about. It depends on the intentionality of the person who's saying the word. That the meaning of the term being used is just dependent on the meaning of the person who's using it. So words actually aren't true or false. They don't have true or false definitions.
I don't think you're tracking, right? I told you specifically, and first of all, this is a false equivalence, because I told you before this, right? I told you that in my paradigm, yes, right? Because the only correct definition in our paradigm of time, referring in reference to metaphysics, is going to be a state of change in which only exists within the mind, right? So again, I already called you out for falsely equivocating that word as, and then you say like, oh, well, then you don't have a problem.
There's
like,
no false equivocation. I'm just telling you what I mean by the word.
No, because then you concluded with because you said, okay, then if you believe time is eternal, then you don't believe that there's an issue with a sequence of events which are infinitely regressing into the past. And I actually disagree with that, because the word time is not being used correctly in virtue of my paradigm.
Oh, yeah, so I'm just using it in my paradigm. So what I mean when I say time is literally just the sequence of events where an event is like reality instantiated, the objects of reality instantiated with specific properties.
And what's the argument?
There's no argument, it's a definition. That's just what I mean when I use the term.
Yeah, but like make your argument again now that we know what your definition is, right? Make your argument.
Yeah, wait, so do you agree that creation is a change of states?
Yeah, absolutely. Wait, okay, so one creating or creation getting into existence?
The act of creation, one creating is, just like the creation as an act is a change of states.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a change of state.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you agree that a change of states requires a sequence of states?
A change of states. Okay, so like a state requires a sequence of states. I would say yeah.
Yeah, and do you agree that a sequence of states requires time?
Yeah, according to my definition.
But according to my definition, does it require time?
Your definition is you have repeat your definition so we know again.
Oh, so my definition is, oh, well, actually, no, that's fine. If it's true according to your definition, then we're big chillin', actually. So time can't be created then, is the conclusion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't believe time is created.
Then awesome. Then, so because the fundamental substance of reality is space-time, then this means that the universe has not been created, which means that God isn't real, because it's impossible to satisfy the condition of a creator who made the universe.
I don't believe time is substance, so that's not the same thing. Again,
you reject space-time, you reject the scientific conclusion, or the scientific consensus on the matter.
Yeah.
Wait, so then, would you mind telling everybody why the light bends around in a solar eclipse?
Yeah, so about like the light bending, I don't know what this has to do with on why time actually concludes. Wait, I don't know
because
why this
space-time is a substance that things interact with. Gravity interacts with space-time, which is why light bends around the moon during an eclipse.
Is space-time time?
So space-time is composed of space and time. If you have time, then you have space, and if you have space, then you have time.
Yeah, good. I believe both are actually uncreated. So they're both
perfect. So then, because space-time is the fundamental substance of reality, this would then lead us to the conclusion. Yes, it is. This is so. Wait, you know better than all of the physicists.
Well, no, we're talking about metaphysics. You're not necessarily like physics. So the problem is that when I believe this is another false equivocation, right? You're saying I have no problem with this. Well, I do, because defining these terms in your way would lead to me disagreeing. Rather, if you use my terms, you wouldn't even get into anything regarding the solar eclipse, because we're not talking about physics. We're talking about metaphysics, right? What God is and how He is.
Wait.
Right?
So if it's because if space-time is not a substance, then why does the light bend around the moon during an eclipse?
Space-time is not a substance?
Yeah, if space-time is not a substance, then why does the light bend around during an eclipse?
Again, space-time, according to you, can be a substance, meaning you believe space-time's extramental, right?
But wait, no, but because in your view it's not a substance, so I'm just wondering, if it's not a substance, then how does the light bend around the moon during an eclipse?
Yeah, light bending around the moon doesn't necessarily it's not mutually exclusive to what I'm saying, because I'm saying time and space are uncreated, therefore they only exist in the mind and their relations. But your definition of space and
What question
time,
did I just ask you?
well, yeah, you just asked me. Okay, I'm answering on my behalf, but
Wait, wait, no, 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 wait, 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 wait,
you
wait.
asked me.
What question did
Yeah,
I
I'm
ask
answering you.
you?
You said if
No, wait,
space time is
you're not
not,
answering. You
if
didn't even,
space time
you
is
don't
not
even know the
I'm answering
question.
you. I'm
You don't
answering
even
you.
know, you don't even know the
Can
question.
can I tell you the question?
You don't even,
Can
yeah,
I
tell me
tell
the
you?
question.
Okay.
Yeah.
If space time is not substance, then how does light bend around the moon in a solar eclipse? Relax, buddy. You're
Yeah,
not going
yeah,
anywhere.
no, go
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
relax, please.
let's try answering it this time.
Yeah.
No,
Relax, yeah.
I'm totally chill, but you seem to
No, you're
get,
not chill. You're
you're getting
panicking.
pretty rattled right now.
No, you just don't let me finish. So that's the reason. But
Yeah,
just
go for
relax,
it.
please. Thank you. So, according to you, it can be a substance, and therefore that would be the substance that helps it bend around the moon. But in my paradigm, I don't believe that. So that's your answer.
Oh, gotcha. So you just reject reality. You reject the fact that it bends around?
Well, I don't. Okay,
It's you
again,
can literally
I
just see
don't.
it with your
Oh my
eyes. Wait, you
god.
want people
Oh
to
my
deny
god.
their eyes?
Okay, so there's many. Okay, no, I agree with what you're saying, but the definitions is what we're having a problem with here. Okay, just focus, please. You're saying that space-time is what makes light bend around the moon. Like,
Correct.
okay, perfect. There's no problem. But that's according to your definition. I can agree that
Wait,
space-time.
why does it bend around the moon under your paradigm?
What? Why does
Why
it
does
bend around?
light bend around the moon under your paradigm?
I don't know.
You
My
have no answer.
paradigm.
Wait, so just to be clear, this is a
What?
piece of data about the physical world that you have
Mm-hmm.
literally no explanation for. Your theory can't account for these basic
This
facts
isn't
of
an argument.
reality.
This isn't an argument.
Yeah,
This
no,
is
it
your
is an wait,
paradigm.
it is an argument, and I'll spell it out for you if you're interested. So we have two hypotheses: the hypothesis that God exists versus the hypothesis that God does not exist. Now, the fact that light bends around the moon during an eclipse is highly unexpected on your hypothesis, whereas it's perfectly in line with my hypothesis. So
Yeah,
we
but
have a
yeah,
piece of
depending.
data which
Oh my God.
decisively supports my worldview that I can explain quite
Hmm.
easily with general relativity, but you have literally no explanation, which is why 5 seconds ago you had to shrug your shoulders and say, I don't know.
Yeah, this is not relevant. On I can literally just accept your definition for this particular
Oh,
action of light
gotcha. Then
bending
you'll
around the moon.
concede that God didn't create the universe.
No, again, I told you
If
with
you're
it.
accepting my definition, then you're accepting
No,
that
I told you.
space-time is a
See,
substance.
you don't listen to. You didn't hear what I said at the end, right? I told you that for this particular action, play it back. I can accept your definition for this. I'm like, okay, because no problem, because space
Gotcha.
and time have different definitions for different things. Like, for example, physics and metaphysics, space and time are going to have different definitions. In physics, space and time, because you're conflating the two topics, physicists are not metaphysicians, right? And in, wait one second, because the light bending around the
You're
moon is
paranoid.
physics. I'm not paranoid. No,
You just
I'm
said
just,
you had to say, wait a second. When
no.
I wasn't even talking, you're
Yeah,
paranoid. You're
because I literally,
shadowboxing.
I saw your mouth. You're about to open your mouth. So,
Damn, you have
it's like,
that godly
it's like a
foresight.
precaution.
Wait, so if you accept my
You're cornered.
definition, then that
So,
means you accept that
oh my
space-time is a
God.
substance, which means that you
No,
accept that God could not have possibly created it, which means that you
that's not
accept
true.
that God could not have possibly created the universe, which means you accept
Oh
that
my
God does
God.
not exist.
Again, you're conflating physics and metaphysics. Space and time in physics is created. In metaphysics, they are not. This is
So
the
do you think
distinction.
that in metaphysical conversations we should just throw out physics?
Did I say that?
It's
Did I say that?
you seem to be
No.
trying to get away from the physics of the matter. The actual facts of
Oh my
reality
God.
seem to be a problem for your metaphysics.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Why am
metaphysics are
I?
useless
No.
if they do not correspond to reality. Physics are essential in
No
order to
shit.
develop a coherent metaphysics. So
Okay. Again.
your
Oh my
inability
God.
to include this in your metaphysics is actually going to be a damning reason why your worldview cannot possibly succeed.
Yeah, so but again, you're conflating the two topics regarding two words which are which require two different
But
definitions
you
because
said
they're
you'd
two
accept my definition.
and physics, not metaphysics. It's not the same thing, okay? They're not
But
opposites or
metaphysics needs to be able to account for physics,
That's
but your
fine. Oh
metaphysics
my
cannot
God.
account for physics.
There's no problem. I said okay, and you keep saying that I can see to your definition, therefore I don't have a
You
problem with God. Wait, can I finish?
Yeah, go
Thank
for
you.
it.
I don't have a problem with God like not creating the universe, therefore like it being eternal, right? But again, I would just concede to your definition in physics, not metaphysics,
Does
because in
metaphysics need to be able to account for physics?
yes,
Gotcha. So if your metaphysics cannot account for physics, then it is wrong?
that doesn't mean they have to have the same definition. Again,
But if
I
your
can see here.
metaphysics cannot account for physics, then it's wrong.
Did I say it's not? I said that they have to account for X, right? But again, when I say space and time are not created, this is in reference to metaphysics. Space time using, like, when you use that word in virtue of light bending around the moon, yeah, we can call that an extra mental substance, which exists outside the mind. I don't care about that. But you're just conflating these two topics and saying, oh, then therefore you're conceding that the universe is eternal and that God cannot have created it because time's eternal. This is wrong because you're conflating metaphysics and physics.
Wait, so you think time and physics means something different than time and metaphysics? You think that these are two different things?
Absolutely, my paradigm. What the
What are
hell?
you talking about? It's
Absolutely. What's the
time.
argument?
Time is a thing in physics, and it's also a thing in metaphysics.
Yeah,
In both
yeah, it's a thing in
instances, it
metaphysics,
describes
depending.
in both instances it describes the sequence of events in reality. That's what time describes in both physics and in metaphysics.
Yeah, this all well, physics doesn't really have like many paradigms which you can appeal to which change definitions, but rather metaphysics, you have different paradigms and worldviews which you can take the definition of time and in different places, right? Like time has
Did you?
different.
It's funny.
What's so funny? Can you just
Yeah,
relax?
wait,
Why are
yeah.
you like?
So what's funny is that you think that there aren't lots of paradigms in physics, which speaks to your lack of knowledge about this subject. There are
Mm-hmm.
tons of different paradigms about time in physics. Are you
How
kidding?
how
You've
many how
clearly
many
not
different
looked into this at all.
yeah how many different definitions of time are there in physics?
Well, there's tons of different perspectives on time in physics,
That's
where
that's
for
not
a
my
long
that's not my
time it
point.
was seen as like the A theory versus the B theory. This is still a big topic in both
So
physics and in metaphysics.
two paradigms regarding time.
But well, there's multiple. If you're really interested, we can get into all the different theories of time.
No,
I don't know what you think
that's
is
not the
funny. You're getting
point.
torn in half right now.
You're a joke, man. No,
Wait,
this is
wait.
what's so.
So, and
This is
the
funny.
punchline
Oh
is
my
that you have no
god.
argument, and
Of
you've
course
been
I do.
reduced to
Of
ad
course I do.
hominems
No, that's
because you
not an
have
ad
no
hominem.
argument.
No, I responded to
You
your
you just
argument.
called me a joke.
Yeah, yeah, that's not
Or
necessarily an ad
I'm sorry.
hominem.
You've been reduced to insults because you have
What?
no
What?
argument.
Okay, so I don't think you know like what an ad hominem
An
is
ad
because
hominem is instead of replying to the substance, just
uh-huh.
putting out an insult. So I corrected
Yeah,
myself. I
so
said
oh
you
there you
had to
go.
resort
Thank
to
you.
insults because
Thank you.
your argument could not contend.
Okay, so it's not an ad hominem. Let's continue. Let me
Yeah,
respond
yeah,
to
but
that
it's
quote
still
unquote
an
stuff.
insult, which
Okay,
speaks to
relax. Yeah,
the lack of
yeah, but
rigor in your
it's
argumentative
okay. That's
positions.
fine. That's
Daniel,
fine.
thank you so much for the $6.66 on
Oh my
Cash App.
God.
Hail Daniel, hail 666, hail Satan,
You've
big
lost it.
W Daniel. Appreciate that.
This guy's lost it. All right, let's continue. So
Yeah.
again, yeah, whether or not there's a million paradigms in physics, which we just see A and B theory, right? According to you.
There's also
Um,
like C theory. I mean, there's,
okay, so how many paradigms are there? Like how
wait,
many
wait, do you want me
definitions?
to, there's probably much more. I bet there's lots of
Okay,
theorization.
okay. Ian, how many? Okay, just a quick. How many definitions? Listen to my question. How many definitions are are there in physics of the word time?
It's really, I have no idea the answer to that. Probably a
Is it
lot.
okay? How many? Can you Google it?
There's probably not going to be one number
Because
that's available for how many definitions there are of time in
yeah,
physics.
yeah.
That's not really
So
the question that's
okay.
conducive to study.
So you agree there's not a
It's gonna be very
consensus?
dependent,
Is there a
just based on the
consensus?
physicists who work with it. Jesse, thank you so much for that, Duck. I appreciate that.
So there's not a
Probably a
consensus.
lot.
So there's not a
Yeah.
consensus on what space
Yeah,
time is.
but what it generally refers to is the sequence of events in reality.
How are there different paradigms, but you have a consensus? Please
Because
explain that to
the
me.
understanding of it, how you understand the sequence of events in reality is going to be different from physicist to physicist. But the
So
fact
it's
that
not a
there is a
consensus.
sequence of events in reality is going to be unified.
Wait, that's not what you said earlier. Okay, let me remind you what you said, right? Earlier you said there's a consensus upon what space-time is, and that's just not true at all, right?
Yeah, well, the consensus that
Don't
the
run,
reality is
Jesse.
made of
You're interrupting.
space-time, certainly, but how to actually
You're
look at and
interrupting. You're
understand
interrupting.
space-time, that's what's still
Oh
in
my God.
contention and still up for debate.
Yeah, but you saying that there's again, just don't interrupt,
Hex,
please.
thank you so much, appreciate that.
You saying that there is a consensus upon the definition of space-time or what it is, right? This is not true because there's many differences upon this, and many scholars or scientists actually differ upon this word, right? But
Differences
let's
in
look at
understanding, but not differences in the fundamental fact that there is a sequence of events in reality. India,
yeah,
thank you so much. Appreciate that.
that's not what the
I
title
think you're just a
originally.
little bit confused here. And in fact, if you're read up on any of the time literature in regards to philosophy, you would know that many philosophers take quite seriously physics in its relation to the metaphysics of time. Specifically, people take things like general relativity. For example, the fact that light bends around this or around the moon during an eclipse as evidence that the B theory of time is true. So
Yeah,
obviously
this
physics
is.
can inform metaphysics. Otherwise, like that's just
Mhm.
nonsense.
Yeah, this is just trivial to the argument, right? Because I conclude with metaphysical, like the metaphysical definition of time and space according to the Atheist paradigm is just something in which is relative. It's a relationship of individual X to individual Y, right? That's all it is. It's in the mind. Rather, the physical definition that I conceded to is it's a substance which exists outside the mind. And you're using these two, you're equivocating these words as if they're the same thing according to my paradigm and making an argument, concluding with therefore you, like God, could not have created the universe because time's eternal. But what do you mean by time's eternal? Because you're conflating the definitions.
So
Because
I
I
just
believe
have a
time's
question
eternal.
that you have no answer to. Is time the same? So to you, from your perspective, let's take two objects. We have one object traveling at close to the speed of light, and one object that's stationary. Is time going to be the same for the object that's traveling close to the speed of light as it will be for the object that's stationary?
Well, is the light, is the whatever is traveling, is that changing state? Is it changing state?
It's just traveling at the speed of light.
Yeah, but is the state of it changing? Or is it, or,
I'm not sure I understand the question. What do you mean is the
okay,
state of it?
no,
It's just an
okay.
object traveling at the speed of light, close to the speed of light.
Okay, did it go from not moving to traveling speed of light, or has it been eternally moving? Because this is the difference.
It can be either or. It really doesn't
Okay,
matter.
if it's eternal, then no, they have the same. They don't, like one doesn't have more time or anything because one has not been changing its state at all, and so has the other.
Wait. So do you hold that
I just
time is
answered
the
your
same to
question.
this object? So wait, we can say that it was at first at rest and then it got accelerated to
Oh, there you go.
close to
There you
the
go.
speed of light. If you, it's not like this question matters or changes literally any part of it. But
It literally
if you
does.
want to delay the inevitability of you having to concede that you have no idea what you're talking about, we can delay it for as long as you want. So I'll just ask you
Okay.
again. We have two objects. One is traveling close to the speed of light. One is stationary on Earth. So is time experienced the same by these two objects?
Is time experienced?
Or is time the same for both of these objects?
Time is the same, like more. I don't think you'd have more time than the other. You need to specify what you mean.
Is time the same for both of these objects?
Is time the same? I would say no, because one went from a state of not moving to moving. The other did not move at all. Therefore,
Wait, so if you're laying down and then I stand up and walk around, you're saying that time is different for us?
okay. So when I say time is different, I just mean a state of change, right? So my state is changing when I'm walking. You laying down, your state is not changing. Therefore, according to you, I'm like, or according to me, my time is going to be different than your time. Not necessarily meaning that I'm like an hour behind you. That's not what more time or less time means, right? It's just in virtue of your state of change.
So if there were no minds that existed, would time still exist?
Yeah, it would be grounded within God's essence.
Is God a mind?
God has a mind.
Okay.
Okay.
So I asked
Huh?
you if no minds exist, would time still exist? And your response to this was, yes, it would still exist in a mind.
So I
That's not
thought
what
you
I
were
asked
referring.
you.
So you're literally asking if there was nothing, would time
If there
exist?
was no, not if there was nothing, just if there were no minds. Like you can
Yeah,
imagine like just the
no
earth
minds.
spinning around, no minds. Would time still exist
No.
if there were no minds?
I don't believe anything would exist actually, because if nothing existed, then nothing would be here. That's why I believe that your belief's a contradiction.
Wait, so we could have stuff, just not minds. So I'm just asking you to imagine in good faith for just a second the Earth spinning, but no minds in existence throughout the entire galaxy. Would time still exist on this world where no mind ever existed in the first place?
Yeah, that's a paradox because this entails that there was an
It's
infinite. Can I
It's
explain how?
not.
Why are you panicking? You're the one panicking. Can you be quiet?
Wait, oh, you had to
Can you
do
be
the
quiet?
you're the one panicking before I
Can you be
even said
quiet?
anything. That
Can you
speaks
be
to the level
quiet?
of rattled that you are right
Can you be
now.
quiet? I'm
Just
trying to
calm
talk. Can you be
down.
quiet? Can you stop talking? Well,
Yeah,
like
it's gonna be
you're a child.
okay.
I'm chilling, bro. Just learn how to
You
learn how
are
to
you're
navigate. Yeah,
not chilling, and the fact
I'm
that you're not
chilling.
chilling is apparent to everyone. Little
Yeah,
Sandy, thank
that's
you so
fine.
much. I appreciate it.
That's fine.
People who are chilling don't need to affirm that they're chilling.
What? What? That's
Are
not
you
true
are
at
you
all. They
looking in
can't.
the
That
mirror and
doesn't.
doing affirmations? Are you trying to get yourself to
Uh,
believe it too?
Again, that doesn't negate I'm not chilling, but that's a great argument. Anyways, let me continue without interrupting. Can you do that?
Yeah, we'll see.
Uh, okay, we'll see.
You got to come back to the app.
Sorry, my 10% battery, but no, this is a paradox. The question cannot be answered because it's impossible to answer.
Wait.
Because
So what's that? So
when
a
I
paradox is a propositional statement or a set of propositional statements which are self-referential and alternate between true and false. So can you show me where the self-reference is?
yeah, I'm getting to that, but you just interrupted me, right?
No, wait. So because you called it paradoxical, so I'm just interested
Yeah, the
in a
question is paradoxical.
scenario where the Earth is spinning but no minds exist.
Uh-huh.
Where in this scenario is it referencing itself?
Yeah, I was gonna. No, the paradox is between how the Earth was infinitely here without a mind. That's the paradox, right? Because I believe that nothing can exist without a mind. This is the
So
paradox
where
here.
is the self-reference though?
What do you mean by self-reference?
Because in order for you don't know anything about paradoxes. Okay, I'll just break this down for you. So what a paradox requires, logically speaking, is two components. One, it requires an infinite regress of self-reference, but specifically it applies to propositions that alternate between true and false in each series or an extended series of references. So propositions are going to be values like this statement is false, for example. It refers to this statement, it refers to itself, and of course it alternates between true and false as you try to evaluate it. So could you point out where it's doing that, or is it actually not a paradox and you just wanted to use a
No,
big word?
do you understand what paradox means?
I just explained to you very detailed. Do you have a
No,
single source
I
that
don't
would
think you
reject any
understand.
of what I just said?
Wait, I don't think you understand what paradox means. Can you define paradox? You didn't just define
Yeah, I just
paradox,
did.
right?
Yeah, so a paradox is composed of two main elements. Leah, thank you so much for the manifesting. Big W, Leah, I appreciate that. And Castiel, thank you so much for the gem gun. That's fucking awesome. Big W, Castiel. I already explained to you what a paradox is, but I'd be happy to do it a second
No, I'm
time because
asking
you
you to
weren't
define it.
listening.
I'm asking you to define it.
Yeah, so a paradox is defined as any proposition or set of propositions that satisfy the following two properties. Pete, thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's literally so awesome. That's sick as hell. The first property is a self-reference, an infinite regressive self-reference, and the second property is that in this infinite regressive self-reference, it alternates between true and false, which is why let's take a statement like this statement is false. There's the self-reference, it refers to itself because it says this statement, and it alternates between true and false. If you take the statement to be true, then it would be true that the statement is false, which of course would make it false, but the fact that it's false and it claims to be false would make it true, so on and so on. There's an infinite regress in which it alternates between true and false. That's what a paradox is.
Yeah, so actually, I don't even believe in that definition of a paradox, but we can just use a better word
Wait,
we
let's
can introduce the
how about I
conversation.
pull up how about I just go ahead and pull up like a philosophical source for you?
I mean, you can, but it's trivial. The point still stands, but the word that I could use that we could both agree with is contradiction.
Oh, sure. And what's the P and not P? So you concede that there is no paradox, technically
Yeah,
speaking.
when I say
So
yeah, the definition of
W,
paradox is completely
the
wrong.
big W
I didn't
concession.
concede.
So
That's
what is
not a
the you
concession.
did? Well, you did concede. You conceded that there is no
No,
paradox, but
no, I'm
now
not
you're
conceding.
pivoting to the claim that there's a contradiction. So
That's not a
W
concession.
concession to you. It's
That's
always
not a
good to be able
concession.
to admit admit when you're
How are
wrong.
you
So,
satisfying yourself like this? This is crazy.
so
Like what?
wait, let's just calm down there. You're getting
How's that
really
a
personal
concession?
really quickly, and it's because you know you're trapped. So
Your
what's the
cheeks are
P
red,
and
not
not
mine.
P contradiction?
Yeah, so a paradox is essentially, right, something which is like a concept in which is so absurd that becomes impossible, or two things which cannot exist at the same time
Can
in
you
the
give me a
mind, or
philosopher who defines it this way?
Yeah, absolutely. If you give me a moment to actually finish. But again, I told you to like reduce. I can like this is trivial to the argument whether or not I can bring a philosopher because if we just
But you
reduce
said
this,
that you could, so
yeah,
please
I
provide the
absolutely could.
philosopher who defines it this way.
Yeah, yeah. But again, I'm telling you it's trivial whether I do or not because the word
Wait,
contradiction actually
wait,
satisfies
wait. You
both of us.
said, are you
It's
going
called a
to provide
reduction.
a philosopher who defines it this way, or are you ready to
It's a
concede?
reduction.
Wait,
That's not a
wait.
concession.
Are you going
It's not a
to find
concession.
me a
Very
philosopher who
slow.
defines it this way, or would you like to
Yeah.
concede that it's not actually a paradox?
That's not okay. Again, so me not giving you or giving a philosopher doesn't actually change the argument. Again, nor am I
Because
conceding if I
I've
don't give you
studied
because
logic quite extensively. I
yeah,
literally have a
I can
degree in
tell when you
mathematics,
don't even know what time or
and
twice is.
you
That's
will
very
not be
good.
able to find a
This
philosopher
guy,
who defines paradox as
this guy.
anything other than what I described to you.
Yeah. So do you believe that paradoxes are contradictions?
No.
Okay. Can paradoxes lead to contradictions?
I don't know what you mean by lead to. Maybe,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Okay. Perfect. So give me an example. This is how we can like reduce terms and get on the same page. Do you have any examples of paradoxes which lead to contradictions? So I can help you understand.
No, not off rip. Certainly not.
Okay,
Oh,
perfect.
I guess one contradiction. So there's a paradox that can be used to prove any statement true. It's called Curry's paradox. So I could say if this statement is true, then Curry's paradox does not lead to a true conclusion every time it's invoked, in which we would have it such that Curry's paradox both does lead to a true conclusion every time it's invoked and also doesn't lead to a true conclusion every time it's invoked. So I guess that's a paradox that we could use to establish to establish a contradiction.
Yeah, generally here I'm gonna find you something here. But I mean, if we disagree on this word, we can absolutely use the word contradiction because your concept is a
Sure. So you'll
contradiction.
concede that there's no paradox. So what's the
No,
contradiction?
that's not a concession. I don't think you understand what a concession is. But
Well, because you claimed
again,
it was a
like
paradox, and now you're backing off of the
yes,
position.
yes,
So, because I'm defining all
according to
sorts
my
of words.
yeah,
First, you didn't know what a paradox. You're learning so much in this conversation. Didn't know what a paradox
no.
was, so I explained it to you. Don't know what a concession is, so I'll
Making up
explain
your own
it to you
happiness is
too.
crazy.
What a concession is when you hold to one position, and then because you, for whatever reason, you want to move the argument along, whatever, you back away from defending that position. So you are now backing away from defending the
No.
position that there is a paradox entailed by my belief system. So
Oh
you
my
are
God.
conceding that. So now that you concede that there is no paradox, and instead you're pivoting to the claim that there's a contradiction, what's the contradiction?
Here, I actually have like an example of a paradox. If you go to like philosophytalk.org, it says right here, like for example, like consider the statement. This statement is false. If it's true, then it's false. This is the liar's paradox, essentially.
I
But if it's false,
explained literally this exact example to you, right?
yeah. So this is the point that you were talking about, like regarding the infinite regress of propositions.
Yeah,
And
so
this
you
is,
agree with me,
yeah,
is what you're
yeah. This
saying.
this this literally is what I'm saying, right? And I'm giving you here an example.
No, it's
Okay,
not. This
good.
is what I'm saying. We got a
Wait, wait,
gaslighting Gary
wait,
over here. That's crazy.
wait. So this doesn't lead to a contradiction here.
You are literally just gaslighting, not necessarily, not under all
Okay, so
logics,
okay, no, no, no. Regarding this, what I just showed you, this does not lead to a contradiction.
not necessarily.
Okay, so when I say this statement is false, if it's true, then it's false. But if it's false, then it's true.
Yeah, so
So that's
if I
not a
adopt a
contradiction.
logical system like fuzzy logic or dialetheism, then there's actually no problem with this, or like a multi-valued logic. So if I adopted like a fuzzy logic, I could say that it is a truth value of zero point 0.5, in which case there would be no contradiction.
Yeah, good. But nonetheless, right, whether or not you want to adopt that like form of logic or whatever, right, there's still, and you agreed, like you actually mentioned one, where there are contradictions that are formed from paradoxes, right? Doesn't actually matter.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely,
all the
yes.
time, though.
Okay, that's fine. Again, there's no problem with me conceding to that. I really don't care about that.
Gotcha.
But
W concession and W conceding to the fact that
what?
you are conceding.
What I'm just reducing. We can just. This is just me simplifying the
Nicole,
argument.
thank you so much for the $6.66 on Venmo for the Blasphemy Fund. Hail, Nicole. Hail, 666. Hail, Satan. Big W, Nicole, in that comment section.
Perfect. So like the essentially the contradiction that I'm getting at in your example is going to be in reference to no minds existing, but something which has been eternally residing somewhere, right? That's what I believe is the problem here, and I've actually demonstrated how. because the Earth is a contingent and it's made of parts. It needs another
So
explanation
wait,
for
so
many other
premise one
things.
is, let's just go through the premises for your argument, and we can see how valid it is.
Okay, we can just speak normal language. We don't even need like a syllogism here, right?
Oh, I love syllogisms. Why are you afraid of logic? Jillian, thank you so much. I appreciate the subscription.
That's just a presupposition. Who said I'm scared of logic?
Because you don't want to put it into a proposition because you're afraid that if the premises get scrutinized, then they might not hold up.
Yeah, that's just begging the question, right? You just stated that I'm afraid because I'm afraid of getting my premises scrutinized. That's just literally begging the question. You're asserting the
It's
conclusion within your premises.
there's no question
No.
begging going on here. I'm
Yes,
just
it is.
asserting that the
This
most
guy.
probable explanation for why you instead of actually giving the syllogism for the argument, why you're running to the meta commentary, is
Yeah,
because you're
you
afraid of the
don't.
actual substance. Because you've done very poorly in this debate so far, and you're worried that if we actually
No.
get deeper into the substance, it's going to just get worse for you.
No, like my apologies, but you've actually like a really false, like the biggest false equivocation in the world, right? And I caught you on that, and then therefore you tried to
What's
get
the
into that.
false
Yeah,
equivocation?
the false equivocation of space and time, and then you concluded with therefore God could not have created the universe because time's eternal.
No,
Because you false
there's no false
Yes,
equivocation
there
because
is.
I
This guy's
use
slow.
the word time in my own view.
Yeah, this is no, because you're saying that I don't have a problem with the universe
Jillian,
being
thank you
eternal.
so much for the $6.66 on Venmo.
That's
Hail
lobster, bro.
Jillian. Hail 666. Hail Satan. Big W Jillian. If you want to make the guest as aggravated, the Venmo's allegedly dash Ian and the Cash App is just allegedly Ian. Both are in my bio. Appreciate it, Jillian.
Yeah, I'm back. So, essentially, the false equivocation is you telling me that I don't have a problem with God not have created the universe and rather it be eternal and therefore God doesn't exist. No, that actually doesn't work because your definition of time, you're saying that I agree with that concept. I'm saying no. This is what makes the false equivocation, the false equivocation, by using the same word with a different definition to complete the argument, right? This is the part that I disagree with, and you cannot substantiate why you're not doing the false equivocation after I've given the argument why. So I gave you the proof. Now, can you please attack it?
Yeah, for why it's a false equivocation.
No, why it's not, because I just told you how it
Oh,
is. Can you
sure,
please?
sure. So you want the explanation for why it's not a false equivocation. The reason why it's not a false equivocation is just going to be based on the way that I define the terms. I asked you if you agreed with it, and you certainly rejected that you agreed with it, but even after I clarified to you what I meant by it, you were still rejecting it and unable to actually engage with it.
Yeah, I was rejecting the metaphysical definition of that, not the physical. Yet again, you don't
Wait,
understand what
it's
you're
the same.
talking about.
It's time,
No.
dog. It doesn't have a metaphysical
Yeah.
and physical definition.
Yes, it
It just
does.
has a definition. It's
Yes, it
time. It
does.
means
Yes,
the
does have.
same thing in both.
That's not true. No. That's
It
maybe you have different paradigms than
does.
I do.
I'm
No,
so sorry. I'm so
no.
sorry. It means time means the same thing in physics as it does in metaphysics.
Yeah, maybe according to your paradigm, because like I believe that God, for example, he didn't create time, but rather in physics, time is substance because like what you said, right? Like light bending around the moon during a solar eclipse. Like that's a difference, right? I don't believe time's a substance in metaphysics, rather in physics it is, depending on which topic you talk about. So
So
yeah,
does
according
is your metaphysics able to account for time as a substance in physics?
in physics,
Yeah.
so can my definition be what it is in physics?
No, I'm just asking you, how does your metaphysics of time account for time being a substance in physics?
How does it account for time in physics? What? Who said that?
How does your metaphysics account for your physics?
How does my Okay, can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, so when I ask you about your metaphysics, your like the nature of reality, these fundamental properties of it, what I'm asking you is to give an account for how time can be a substance in physics, but not a substance in metaphysics.
Yeah, because in metaphysics, when we're talking, it's essentially like when I say metaphysics, like we're talking about God's properties and so on, right? So like
You think
God,
metaphysics just means God's properties?
that's not what I said, right? I said right now, as if what we're talking about God's properties, essentially, right? So God could not, in metaphysics, could not have created time, right? Because if he created time, then there will be an infinite regress, right? This is our position. Rather, in physics, time does exist outside the mind, essentially, right? According to you. So this is the problem. And why is this a problem? Because you're conflating these two definitions. Physics, the definition is substance. It's literally something which is substantial, right? In Islam, or sorry, in metaphysics of like at the Athari point of view, it's not created, right?
Can you give me a
Because
definition of time in metaphysics versus the definition of time in physics?
yeah, so here, do you want to define the physics one? Because I haven't fully memorized it.
Oh no, because you made hard assertions about it. So go ahead and
Yeah,
go
okay,
for
so
it.
the metaphysical definition of it is just like a state of change, which is just relative to individual X versus individual Y. Or sorry,
State of
individual, yeah, like sorry, that was play. So like it's relative and it's a relation term. It's a relationship depending upon if individual X is in a state of change. That's the
state of
metaphysical
change
definition.
relative to individual X.
Yes.
Gotcha. Wait, and then what's the definition for physics?
I mean, it depends what paradigm you hold to. Again, it's not a consensus, so
What's like any definition?
like just something which is substance. Like I mean, it depends, right? Like I
Because
don't
this
really want to.
actually so I'm referring
Regardless
to
of what it
time
is.
as in like the timeline.
Yeah. So like, what do you mean by that though? Like time is timeline. You like a sequence of events?
Just like the entire sequence of events, all of it.
Yeah. So okay, that's fine. Yeah, there's a disagreement, right? I don't believe time is that. Time is not a
Wait,
sequence of events.
so definitions aren't propositional. I'm so sorry to break that
Yeah,
to
yeah.
you.
Again, you keep repeating the same thing, but I'm telling you, when we're talking about two different subjects, I told you the distinction between the definitions. Then you go on and reject the distinctions for no reason, and you just say that they're not propositional, right? Again, they're not the same topics, but they're the same word. This is
So
why I keep telling you that you're falsely equivocating the
in
words,
a
right? When
metaphysical
I tell you,
conversation, what word would you like to use? We can call it schmeim if you'd prefer to refer to the entire timeline. We
no,
can just
I don't
ask like,
believe.
how did God create schmeim?
No, again, I don't believe time is a sequence of events.
No,
What are you?
we're not talking
What
about
is
time.
that
We're talking
talking
about
about?
schmeim.
Okay, what is Schmeim?
It's the entire timeline taken as a totality. It's the
The
whole
time
of the sequence of
totality.
events.
The
How do you
whole.
account for
I don't believe that's what time
the
is.
creation of the whole of the sequence of events?
I don't believe that's what time is, Potato.
Wait,
What are you
we're not.
talking about?
No one's talking about time, big dog. We're talking about schmeim.
Okay, well, I don't believe that's what Schmeim is. What are you
Oh,
talking
and I'm
about?
sorry. What's the true definition of schmeim?
Yeah, so if we're talking about metaphysics here, Schmeim, you wrote it down, but you are illiterate, right? I told you that Schmeim is where individual X is in a state of change
Wait.
or is
That's
going.
your definition for time. We're talking
No,
about a different thing because you can't
what?
seem to wrap your head around the fact that
You just
some
said
people might
Schmeim.
use terms differently than you. So
This guy.
we can call it whatever you want.
What the
So
hell's
how do
wrong
you
with this guy?
account for the whole of the sequence of events in reality? How do you account for that?
Well, the sequence of events in reality?
Yeah,
Yeah,
how do you account for that?
what do you mean, how do I account for that? What are you
Yeah,
asking
wait.
me?
So did God create the sequence of events in reality?
Did he create the sequence itself?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What do you mean did God create the sequence?
Did God? It's a pretty straightforward question, but I
No, it's
understand you
not.
asking this to try to bide for time. Did God create the
No.
totality of the sequence of events?
What sequence of events?
There's a sequence of events in reality that right now we're talking, but previously we were on a different argument, and
Yeah,
before
no,
that we
God
were on a
didn't create
different
that.
argument, and
Yeah,
before
God
that
didn't
I didn't
create
even
that.
start my stream yet.
Yeah,
These are all
God,
events, and there's a sequence
yeah,
to these events.
God didn't
So
create
there
that.
exists a sequence of events. Did God create the sequence of events?
No,
Then where did it come from?
it came from me and you, and God let it happen.
Oh, so I'm just asking about the totality of it, not just between the two of us, but between all of it.
Yeah, so from the beginning all the way to the end, right?
Yeah, so who
Yeah,
created
so this
this
depends.
timeline? Who
Yeah,
created the
yeah,
timeline?
yeah. So there's a presupposition in here. It's that God created essentially the whole timeline, right? God
There's no
started the
proposition that's
timeline.
been advanced. I haven't said
Wait,
that God created
wait.
it. I'm just
No, no,
asking
no,
you,
no,
where did it
no.
come from?
Yeah, yeah, but you're saying who created the timeline as if God created the timeline,
I
right?
no, I just
God,
asked where did it come from?
yeah, so the beginning of timeline obviously came from God, right? But once the timeline advances, God doesn't necessarily create more of that timeline. It just goes, right?
No,
And
that's
then
fine.
he
So I
ends,
have
and
an
then God ends the timeline.
argument. I have an argument for why that cannot be the case, that God cannot create the start of the timeline. That's
Please
my
go ahead.
argument, that God
Yeah.
cannot make the beginning of it. Just
Why?
that one, creation is a change of states, that two, change of states requires a sequence of states, and that three, a sequence of states can only exist on the timeline.
Yeah. So like, what's the argument for that? I don't understand what you're talking about.
I just gave you the argument. Those are three
Yeah. So
premises. Which do you
yeah.
reject premise one,
Well,
2, or 3?
you didn't even make a conclusion. So there is there three. Is it
The
three premises or two premises, one
conclusion.
conclusion?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry because typically to me the conclusion is just so self-evident, but I understand for
What?
someone like you it might not be. So the conclusion is that creation requires the timeline to already exist.
Yeah. So again, this is just referring back to what you said regarding time being eternal, right? Correct.
No, this is an argument for why God can't create time.
Yeah, he can't create time. Do I believe
He
that
can't.
time is
Or I'm sorry,
created?
he can't create the timeline.
Okay, and the time he can't create the timeline.
Gotcha. Wait. So then you'll
What
concede to
did
the
he?
point that God created the
No, I
start of the
was
timeline.
no. I was asking. I was in like a rhetorical sense. Like God cannot create the timeline. Why?
I just gave you the argument.
Can you
Because,
explain
oh,
why?
sure. Wait, so do you accept all three of those premises, or were you not listening?
No, I was listening.
Then do you accept all the premises?
No.
Which one do you reject? 1, 2, or 3?
Can you repeat them? It's hard to
Oh,
memorize all
so
three.
you weren't. So just to be clear, you weren't listening. So
That
I'll go
doesn't
through the
follow.
three
That doesn't
premises.
follow at
Oh,
all.
sure. So then you were listening. So which
No,
of
that
the three
doesn't. I
premises
don't. Just
do
because I
you?
don't
Because
remember
you
something
either
doesn't.
were listening or you weren't
No.
listening.
Yeah, me
So
listening or not doesn't negate me not
gotcha.
remembering a
So
syllogism.
were you
It's potato.
listening or were you not listening? Which
I
one?
was listening. That doesn't negate. I
Gotcha.
know
So
everything.
if you were listening, do you reject premise 1, 2, or 3, or were you
Yeah,
not
I was.
listening?
Okay, so me listening or not doesn't negate the fact that I can't remember your syllogism, right? So can you just
Gotcha. Typically, when I listen, I
gotcha?
can
Can you please repeat
remember
it?
for
Yeah,
5 seconds after the
typically.
fact.
Yeah, but it's a
Sure. Yeah,
syllogism, right? It's
I'd
a
be
syllogism.
just for you, I'd
Can
be
you please
happy to
repeat it?
repeat it. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
yeah. So go
Yeah.
ahead.
So premise 1, creation is a change of states. Premise 2, a change of states requires a sequence of states, and then premise 3 is just going to be that a sequence of states can only exist on a timeline.
Did you say okay? Premise to us creation of states is what?
A creation of states requires a sequence of states.
No, I don't believe that that follows.
Or I'm sorry, I said a change of states requires a sequence of states, right?
A change of states requires a sequence of states.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that that follows actually.
Gotcha. Wait, so there's no order to the states?
Well, yeah, this
Do
depends if
they
you're
not follow sequentially when you have a change? Can you give me the example of the change that doesn't have some sequential ordering to it?
yeah, like the first ever change.
Oh, so just begging your conclusion. I reject that there is a first ever change.
Okay,
You're
good.
just
So what?
question begging.
No, that's not begging the question. I literally just answered your question. You said, in
Wait,
what sense does
because
this work?
you're so
This guy's a potato.
the example that you're giving me is literally just your conclusion.
No, yeah, but
The
you
example
can't.
you're giving me is God.
No. Oh my goodness.
I don't believe in God. So
No.
do you have
Okay, but no. Okay.
an
Okay.
example that
Wait.
both of us agree on, or
You
are
don't
you
have to. What
incapable
the
of
hell?
engaging in a dialectic?
No, I don't have to give you the example that you like. What? That's not true at all. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm
No,
begging
I
the
just think that
question
you don't
either.
understand how the dialectic works. That
Yeah,
it
I
needs to
don't
be
think you
one that
understand
you and
what
I
the
both
question
agree
is.
on. I don't
That's not
agree
true.
that God exists, which means I
That's not
can't
true.
accept God as the counterpoint.
Yeah, so can you just please justify to me why the first ever change could
I
not have been
reject a
negated?
first ever change.
Why? Why?
I'm telling you, because a beginning would also require a change of states. A change of states requires a sequence of states,
Justify it.
and a
Justify that.
sequence of states.
Can
Oh,
you
sure.
justify that? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Sure, that's
Justify.
just going to be because of the fact that a change requires a becoming different, which means that you have a before state and an after state. The before state is sequentially prior to the after state. That's the justification.
No, that just becomes. It doesn't even.
Which
That
step
doesn't
of that
form.
justification do you reject?
That doesn't form. Wait, what? That doesn't even. What? That
Which
doesn't
step
even
of that
follow.
justification do
Yeah,
you
I'll tell you.
reject?
I'll tell you because you're saying that something which, for example, like something is the first change, right? Then that follows that there is a before and after to that step, meaning that that starts the sequence, right? I don't believe that essentially, right? Because this leads to an infinite regress. You're actually question begging here because I believe that the first ever thing, which was like, for example, when God created something, or let's say something popped into existence, right? For example, this would be a change. Rather, this wouldn't be the creation of a sequence, right? This would just be the beginning of the sequence. So yeah,
Oh,
you're the one
wait. So
questioning.
did God exist before the beginning of the sequence?
Absolutely.
Oh, sure. So we have state 1, God exists with no timeline.
Uh-huh.
State 2,
No
God
timeline.
exists with the
Wait.
timeline.
Wait,
So
define
so we
timeline.
have we
Define
have this
timeline.
change of states,
Can you
and this
define
change of
timeline?
states must exist on the timeline. The timeline is just going to be the sequence of events.
Okay, yeah. So when you say God existed with the timeline, what are you talking about here?
Just that after God initiates the timeline, that you made the claim specifically that God causes the timeline to exist in the first place. So whatever you
Yes.
meant when you said
Uh-huh.
that God caused the timeline to exist in the first place is what I mean when I say
Okay.
God with the timeline.
Okay,
That the
so
timeline doesn't exist in state 0, but it does exist in state 1.
okay, and the argument is I listened to everything you
That's
said. I
just the
didn't hear the
description of
argument.
creation. That in
Yeah.
creation we have
Yeah.
wait. So maybe I can just draw a picture for you, because it seems like you're just not tracking other
Bro,
methods.
you're so corny. This guy is
These
this
are I'm
guy.
literally saying the same things that you've said to me. So if it's
Yeah,
corny for me
I
to do
agree with
it,
what
then
you
it's
said.
corny for
Yeah,
you
yeah,
to do it.
I agree with what you said. I agree with what you said. I'm waiting for the argument though, right? You just gave
Yeah,
me the description. Yeah, yeah. So can you give me the argument?
yeah,
Yeah. Give me the argument.
yeah. I'll draw you a picture.
You don't need to do that. If you don't just explain the argument,
Well,
dog.
clearly you must be a more of a visual learner because your lack of tracking
You could
abilities is
have,
just
bro, just
incredible.
you could
Wait,
have
do
gave me the
you
argument.
understand? Does so there was a moment where God first created the timeline.
What
So
the
we
hell
go
is
from
this?
God, and then via creation we go to God with the timeline. Do you agree with this
Wait,
picture?
no, I don't believe timeline subsists within God's essence. What the fuck?
But you said that God was the first cause of the very first moment of the timeline.
That doesn't mean that timeline subsists within God's essence. What are you talking about?
I never said that they do. Wait, where is God's essence written down here?
Okay, you literally wrote God circle. It literally, like, what does that mean to you? That means the
That's
essence.
not God's essence, moron. That's the state of reality.
So
Oh,
God,
I'm
I
sorry.
don't.
I'm sorry.
What?
I can tell
I
that my
don't. Wait, wait,
picture
wait, wait,
I
wait,
can
wait.
tell
I
that
don't
my
believe
picture
God.
even that isn't good
Are you
enough for you.
slow? I don't believe
So
God.
let
Wait,
me.
I don't believe God is.
Ooh,
Wait,
damn.
relax.
Bud lost the
I don't believe
argument, so
God is
already stepping
identical.
into ableism.
Why do you keep
Ironic.
interrupting? I don't believe God is identical to reality. What are you talking about?
Does God exist in reality?
Define reality.
The state of all things that exist.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't reside there. Then.
So what do we call the things that don't exist in reality?
It depends actually. They're either going to be abstract or they're going to be something in which is just doesn't exist abstractly or instrumentally or experimentally. Sorry, like they're neither
Wait.
concrete or
So
abstract.
typically, I just want to be clear. So God doesn't exist in reality.
Yeah, when you say that, like
Then God's not real. W concession. We got him. If God doesn't exist in reality, then God's not real. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. I've decided that this guest is just like way too lacking in tracking abilities, so we'll just move on to the next one. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen, trying to get that live in front of as many people as we can. There were two people who sent me gifts, but I decided not to read them till the end. So Jane, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Venmo. Hail, Jane. Hail, 666. Hail, Satan. And then Emma, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. Hail, Emma. Hail, 666. Hail, Satan. And Pete, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. Purdy, you're going crazy. I appreciate it. Thank you. Comment section, but also a big W. Pete, thank you so much. Hail Pete, hail 666, hail Satan, big W Pete. I appreciate it. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. If anybody else wants to come up, to all the people who were saying that I ran, if any of you want to come up and attempt to defend his claim that God is real, but God doesn't exist in reality, you're welcome to do so. But I expect all of you are just gonna pipe down. Katza, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. Hail Katza, hail 666, hail Satan, big W. All right, this guy wants to. What do we call the things that aren't in reality?
Say that again, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, actually, can you give me a definition of real?
Well, I mean, we can just go with the general definition of real.
And what's the general definition of real going to be?
General definition of real would be actually existing as a thing or occurring in fact, not imagined or supposed.
Oh, so I asked the guest whose position you're defending if God exists in the state of all things that actually exist, and he said no. So you would disagree with the guest?
Okay, so let me get that straight. His view was if God exists, say it again.
That God exists not, or that God does not exist in the state of all things that actually exist. That God is not in the state of things, or the state of all things that actually exist.
Like the state of like human existence within.
No, not human existence. Just like anything that exists at all.
Within the state of experience.
No, just existence at all. So that God doesn't exist at all.
So what is your definition of existence then?
Wait. So do you agree or disagree that God exists?
I agree that God exists.
Then you disagree with the guest. So you're not defending the guest's position. You're defending a separate position. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. The lack of like understanding and comprehension abilities is kind of unreal. But make sure you're dropping a follow as well if you're enjoying the debate so far. You never want to miss one in the future. And with that, we can go to the next guest. But make sure if you're in that guest request box that you are 18 or older, you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. And with that, we can move on to the very next guest. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Jameson?
Hello, how are you doing?
Doing well. How old are you? You sound quite young.
Nah, I'm not.
You gotta be 18 or older. If you're not 18 or older, don't request to join. But make sure you're sharing it with your friends, double tapping on that screen. What's up? How's it going, Rude Boa?
Rude boy.
Rude Boa. How do you, how old? And what religion?
Christian, but like spiritual at the same time too.
Oh, wait, so you're Christian, but you're spiritual. Okay, wait, so what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
Well, I just want to go by like facts, okay? Like
Yeah, let's go by the facts.
okay, well not. All right, can I say what I believe? I don't want to say facts. This is just what I believe.
Well, I just want an argument that concludes with God exists.
Bro, God is real, bro. Like,
And why is that the case?
like I feel like you're believing too much in the Bible, like in the sense that it's like the
I
story.
don't believe in the Bible. I think it's fake.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, though. I'm saying like
Okay, so I'm only looking to debate people who believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran. If you don't believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, I'm just not interested in talking to you. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hello,
Hey, how old are you?
18.
That was too much hesitation for me. Me personally, I prefer people who know their age a bit better. But keep on double tapping on that screen. Let's try to get all the way up to 100K. What's up, Kiwana? Or Kiwiana? How old are you?
Hi. Oh, older than you.
Okay. What religion?
I just want to say, I'm Maori, and I'm from New Zealand. I want to say to you that if you believe in the devil himself, do you?
No.
Well, then what do you believe in?
I'm an atheist.
What's an atheist?
I don't think God is real.
So, how do you get feelings? How do you get
From my
You know-
brain.
from your brain? Did you know what? Do you know what happens when you pass or when you sleep?
Yeah, my brain goes into a very different
Do you
state.
know what happens to you when you sleep? Your brain doesn't go.
In
Your brain is
what
physical.
sense are you referring to?
It
Because
means
maybe I
like
just don't
as in
understand your
flesh.
meaning. If I what?
I don't think you do understand anything really. If you sleep, where do you go?
Nowhere. I'm still in
Where
my
do you
body.
go
My
when you
brain is
sleep?
just
Do you
giving me a
dream?
my brain is just giving me a different set of experiences. It's just conjuring up all of
So
these
what
like
makes your
wild
body?
and wacky
What
dreams.
makes your body work? Tell
Lots
me
of
what
things.
makes
It's
your
a very
body
complex
think
process of
and
chemical
sense.
reactions.
And you can't even see an atom. An
Yeah,
atom doesn't exist, and yet everybody believes in
atoms do
science. So
exist.
what do you mean?
So
Oh
my
no!
I don't
Have you
think
seen an
the
atom?
my contention
Have you
is
seen an
not
atom?
my contention is not that God isn't
Oh,
real because we
whatever.
can't see
That's the
him.
problem. Is that people that can't give me, it's just like transgender. They're always hushing you because when you're on something,
What the fuck?
they always wanna. Oh, you will soon find out. When
Listen,
you pass,
friend.
you'll find out. Friend.
Good eye, mate. Listen, friend. I just want to be your best friend.
Oh no, I don't belong in that country. I'm sorry, you've got it wrong there too. See, you jump to assume that people belong in the same
Wait, I'm sorry.
countries
Wait.
as
No,
Australia.
because if you're a
we're
Kiwi, then you
I'm a
actually do
Māori from
pronounce
New
it
Zealand.
best friend. That's Aussies don't pronounce it best friend,
No.
but Kiwis do.
No. I'm sorry. I'm Kiwi, but I'm not a bird. That's a
Never
bird.
said you were.
I'm a Maori. Can you say Maori?
Oh,
Can you say
gotcha. Sure,
Maori?
okay. Maori. My mouth doesn't make those sounds, but that's
Yes,
fine.
No, of course not. I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure your mouth doesn't make very much sounds.
My mouth makes
considering you
lots of
believe in the
sounds.
devil
Actually, I have an
himself.
entire
I
career
think
based
you
on my
do.
mouth
I
making
don't think so.
sounds.
But anyway, God bless you. You know?
You literally just said God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you. And what does that mean? You little bit said God bless you. Oh my God, what the hell does that mean?
Because you were saying that you don't say
What's
best
wrong
friend,
with saying
but you
that?
pronounce it bliss you.
Oh my God, you sound like a Canadian. How about that?
Oh, I just don't know what that means.
No, I don't know what that means. Of course not. When things does, you know what? Why do you compare me to somebody else?
Who am I comparing you to?
An Australian.
Oh! It was the good A, mate. Oh yeah, you don't like that one.
Kei te pehe a koe?
No, I don't speak this language.
No, I'm sure you don't. I wonder why everybody speaks different languages.
Wow.
Is it
Do you
to
have
stop
anything of
everybody
substance, or
from
should I just move on to the next
communicating with each
guest?
other?
Okay.
I'm just wondering, where do you think?
All right, I'm just moving on to the next one. It's grown tedious, but make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. Let's try to get all the way up to 100k likes. If everyone left like 30 likes right now, we'd already be there. So just keep on just moving it on up there. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older, you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. If you want to support the stream, the Venmo is allegedly-Ian. Cash App is just allegedly Ian. I appreciate any and all support because it allows me to go longer every single day. So just be dropping that follow. And if you want to join the community, as many already have, there's a link to the Discord in my bio. I'd love to see you there. What's up, Diego? How's it going?
Yo, what's goody?
Hey, how old are you?
Me, I just turned 18, bro.
Okay, what religion?
Religion, I only believe in, I don't know, what do you believe in?
I'm an atheist, but are you like a Christian? Do you believe in Jesus?
Well, I believe in all that, yeah.
You don't sound very certain.
Yeah, I believe in all that because of personal experiences, but you said I shouldn't mention personal experiences.
Yeah, so do you have an argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
Do you have an anti-argument?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, lots of them.
Okay.
Yeah, your God doesn't exist because one, all of the innumerable contradictions in the Bible. Two, because your God would be a moral monster. And three, because there's literally no evidence. Reality looks exactly as it would look if God didn't exist.
Okay, clearly you're doing this to get into people's brains. So, you know what I will tell you? I mean,
Probably some vacuous nonsense that I didn't ask for.
yeah, that's exactly what this is all about. Yeah, exactly. But you know, I will tell you one thing: the universe is very real, and it speaks out from personal experience. Although I shouldn't mention that because you said it, and you will see later on in life.
Okay, gotcha. So some vacuous nonsense that I didn't ask for. God, how did I do it? I'm so. How did I know? Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends as I go to the next one. Again, if you're in that guest request box, make sure that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, that you're 18 or older, and that you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. What's up, Noah? How's it going?
Yo, what's good, bro?
Hey, how old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
2002.
Okay, well, that's the wrong answer. So just move on to the next one. Drop a follow, do all that good stuff. If you want to join the community, there's a link to the Discord in my bio. It's discord.gg/allegedlyian as well. I'd love to see you there. What's up, Pharaoh? How's it going? Rosie, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm good. Yes.
Hey, yeah, and how old are you?
I'm 34.
34, and what religion?
Muslim.
Okay, what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
What really attracted me to the conversation is that you mentioned that if God is outside creation, then he doesn't exist. This is
That if God is outside of reality, then he's not real.
It's not right. Because reality for you is just reality for you. Because
No, I'm just talking about reality as a whole.
Just example, if I create an ant, like a box, an enclosure to raise ants, the ant in the enclosure believe that that is reality. But I am outside reality, so therefore I can create that enclosure for them. So by so doing, already every religion is just trying to grasp.
That's a really nice metaphor that I just didn't ask for. What I mean when I say reality is the totality of all the things that actually exist.
You can't make such a claim because you don't even know what is outside this galaxy for real.
But whatever there is outside of this galaxy, that's included when I say reality. I don't need to know everything about reality in order to utter the phrase reality. So my claim is not that God must be within his creation, but rather that if God isn't in reality, then he's not real, because that's just what the word means. The things that aren't in reality aren't real.
Okay, let us go with your argument. Where how many people in the world? Like maybe 8 billion, right? 8 billion. And in 8 billion, around maybe half or more than half of that believe in a God. They have their personal experiences from this God that you say does not exist, right?
Oh yeah, I just don't care about any of that, right? Like that's just an appeal to majority. I don't form my opinions around what the majority of people believe. I form my opinions around what's logical and in line with the facts of reality.
But the inherent problem with your logic is that you are telling me that the God must be in a reality that you understand. You don't understand all of reality, so therefore you cannot understand God.
No, it's just that if God doesn't exist in reality,
making a blank statement that God does not exist.
If God doesn't exist in reality, then God's not real. That's just what real means. That's what reality means. The things that aren't in reality aren't real. It's right there in the name.
You said reality. Okay, we are in this reality now, and they talk of black holes. Have you ever seen a black hole before?
I think I'm pretty sure they actually are photographed.
You haven't.
Me personally, no, I haven't,
Yes.
but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the photographs actually do
But
exist.
you believe it because of somebody said so.
We can look up the photographs right now.
There are many people that can tell you they have visions and photographs of God. That doesn't mean anything. Based
Black
on your
hole
argument.
picture. Oh yeah, there it is. Yep. Look, just saw the picture of it.
This is ingenuous. We are at a stalemate. All you have is what you believe. All I have is what I believe.
Well, you haven't even heard what I have, so I'll tell you what I have.
Okay.
If God's all good, then why do kids die of cancer?
Okay, this is an interesting one. You are trying to make an argument that a God that created this entire reality, both the spider and the monkey and them having their own mentalities, a God that created this, you're trying to make the argument that he thinks like you or me.
No, I'm
shouldn't.
just.
You
In
mustn't.
fact, I didn't make. And this is a common misconception, but questions aren't arguments. I'm just. I asked you a question. Why is it the case that kids are unalived by cancer if God is all good?
If God is all good, I am a Muslim. I don't believe that God is all good. I believe that
Oh,
God
so
is the
you would just like reject the names of Allah that have him as like the source of goodness and like
Those
the
are his
just and like the
attributes.
righteous
Those are
and
his
like wait,
attributes.
so
You understand?
we can just go through the 99 names of Allah and figure out which ones are incompatible with allowing kids to be unalived by
I
cancer.
understand. Those are his attributes. And in those names, you are going to find some names that refer to him as a conqueror, opener.
Yeah, so the
Uh-huh.
first one, the entirely merciful, the second one, the bestower of mercy, the fifth one, the giver of peace, the sixth
Okay,
one,
hold on.
the
Hold on.
one who
Let
gives
us take those
security,
names. Let us take those names, for
the
example.
seventh one, the guardian, the witness, the overseer,
Hold on. Hold on.
I mean, all of
Hold
these,
on.
like just off the bat, like so many of these are going to be
Hold on.
incompatible with the fact that kids are
Hold
unalived
on.
by
Hold on.
cancer.
Hold on. Hold on. Right now, okay. Let us take what is morality, for example. Okay, somebody's child dies in somewhere in Morocco, and it's very unfortunate. But maybe that death of that child over there has given somebody life somewhere else. This life is a cycle. Somebody must die for somebody to live. Somebody must lose for somebody to gain. The world isn't
Wait,
some.
what?
Yes.
That's so silly. Wait. So when a kid is unalived by cancer, you think that this is good because it gives life to somebody else?
It's not good for the people that it happened to. But
So
it's
goodness
life.
is relative?
Yes. For
Okay.
you, that's good. For me, something bad, but it's good for somebody else.
Gotcha. Wait,
Somebody
so from God's perspective, is it good?
You say,
From God's perspective, is it good?
God is God. He
From
doesn't
God's
have to
perspective,
dwell on
is kids being
he
unalived by
doesn't have to
cancer
dwell
good?
on our understanding of what is good.
That's not my
the
my
mistake
question
that
wasn't
makes.
is God God. My question to you was very clear and very simple. From God's
Okay.
perspective, is kids being unalived by cancer good?
How can I answer this? I'm not God. But I can tell you what I think.
So do
I can tell
you
you what I think.
from your perspective, is kids being unalived by cancer good?
Kids being unalived by cancer, we see it as terrible. It is terrible to us. But in the grand scheme of things, you don't know how that affects the world.
Is kids dying of cancer all things considered good?
You said?
Is kids being unalived by cancer all things considered good?
It's not good for we that experience it. Do you get it? It's not good
But
for we. The
when
human
you
being.
take it into perspective for like the grand scheme of things, that in the
Okay,
end,
now-
a kid being
now-
unalived by cancer is good,
Let me give
all
you this
things
example.
considered.
Let me just say this thing
I
before.
don't
because
need
we
an
are at
example.
We are at stalemate. If,
We're not at a stalemate. You just refuse to answer the question.
No. Let me explain. You see, I'm trying to let you understand that your good is just your good. We as human beings, what affects us is just what affects us. But we are living in this world with different things. We are not the only things in the world. Plants die for you to eat. Animals die for you to eat. When you die, your body goes back
This
to
is
the
a
soil, and then the world
damning
exists.
non-answer.
Oh, that's what you say. That's what
You're
you
just
say.
not answering the
But
question.
if
Is
you
it
think
all
about it
things
properly,
yes
I'm
or
gonna.
no? Is it all things considered good in the grand scheme of things? Is kids being
How
unalived by
can
cancer
anybody
good?
answer this that if all things considered? You can't even answer that.
Well,
All you have,
so wait. Yes, I
your
can
whole
very
atheist
easily. That's like
ideology is
that's
based on
super
what you
easy for
think.
me to answer. In fact,
No. Your whole
kids being
atheist
unalived by
ideology is
cancer
just
is
based
really
on what you
bad.
think.
It's a bad thing. It's terrible.
For you,
No,
for you,
in the grand
for
scheme
your
of
human
things, kids being
experience,
unalived by
it
cancer is
is this
terrible.
human
It's
ego. It's
horrible.
human ego that makes all of us think that the world should function based on what we feel
So I have
and what we
I have
think
an
and our
answer for
moral
this
dictates.
question, and you don't have an answer for this question.
Mhm.
So why would God not
I just answered you, but you
intervene?
don't like my answer.
You
I
haven't
answered
given
you. You
an
don't like my
answer.
answer.
It's a yes no question,
I
and you
give you.
refuse to give one.
There is nothing like yes or no.
There is. Wait. So
That's how the world
do
is.
you beat your kids?
America is there.
Do you beat your kids?
I don't have kids.
Oh, okay. Do you have a partner? Do you beat
No,
your partner?
no.
So I guess there is such thing as yes or no. So from is it all things considered in the grand scheme of things, good or bad, or is it good that kids are unalived by cancer?
Okay. It's not good for we human
Is it
beings.
good overall?
It's not. There is nothing like overall. That is an like oxymoronic answer. Doesn't make sense. You can't say overall for anything.
Okay, I mean, you're just not answering the question, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Appreciate you coming on up here. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, dropping a follow as well if you're enjoying the debates. You never want to miss one in the future. Make sure you're loud. Thank you so much. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older, that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. If you don't meet that criteria, I'm not going to talk to you. And with that, we'll go to the very next guest. So just keep on double tapping that screen. We're almost at 100K, so let's just keep on pushing through. Kimmy, thank you so much. Appreciate that. What's up, P? How's it going?
It's good. How about you?
Doing well. How old are you?
I'm 18.
What year were you born?
2004.
Oh, good guess. Wrong answer. But hey, what's up? How's it going, Ronnie?
Going good. You, brother?
Yeah, doing well. How old are you?
I'm 18. I was born 2005, December 7th.
Okay. What religion?
Christianity.
Okay. What's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
That doesn't involve personal experience?
Yeah.
Well, you can't get nothing. You can't get something from nothing.
Yeah, I don't think that nothing ever existed. So, what's the argument?
Well, when you say there isn't a God, it makes no sense because how would we get here if nothing created us?
How would we get here if nothing created us?
Yes.
I think that something has always existed, and this something has been changing for a very long time, and eventually resulted in our existence via evolution.
Okay, so if you look at everything that happens around you, everything points to there being a God, because no offense, but how do you get another person? By other people. You get living stuff from living things. A tree comes from another tree. So therefore, wouldn't that point to there being a creator of another living thing creating us, making us?
Gotcha. So you're saying that God the Father is living?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Do you agree that...
No, not God. Jesus is living. God the Father is living. Jesus is God. It's the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, but God the Father was the one who created us. That's the one in Genesis. So,
Yes.
Do you think that God the Father was living?
I mean, it's God the Father. Jesus is God in human form. So yeah, I would say yeah.
Gotcha, yeah.
Jesus is God, but he's not God the Father. But
Yeah, so does God the Father have biology?
biology, explain.
Yeah, does he have like an anatomy? Does he have body parts? God the Father?
Well, I really couldn't tell you because I've never seen God the Father in person or in heaven or anything like that. So I really couldn't tell you. All I know is that the Bible refers to God the Father as a He. So that's all I could really tell you.
Oh, but you have no idea is God the Father made up of cells?
No, but Jesus is, and Jesus is part
Okay,
of the
sure.
Trinity. Jesus is God.
But God the Father is the one I'm interested in. I'm not interested in Jesus. You keep giving me all these Jesus facts that I just didn't ask for. So now that we have established that God the Father is not made up of cells, that means God the Father does not have biology. Now, biology is the study of life, and if God the Father doesn't have cells, then God the Father falls out of the purview of biology, which means that God the Father can't possibly be alive, because it's not possible for him to be studied via the study of life. He like literally just doesn't fit under the category. Wait, but we're talking about God the Father. Jesus is not the Father.
No, but Jesus is God in human form. Jesus was still there. So
we're talking about, and I understand your desperate desire to run to Jesus, but we're talking about God the Father. We're not talking about Jesus. You've once again, and I expect you'll do this many more times. You've given me all these Jesus facts that I didn't ask for. We're talking about God the Father.
They're the same. God.
You think? Oh, that's blasphemy. You reject the Trinity.
No, it's not.
You reject the Trinity. So the Trinity holds that the Son is not the Father. That both of them are God, but the Son is not the Father.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying.
So wait. So then you agree
God limited
that
himself. Hold on. God limited himself and gave his Son.
I didn't
Jesus,
ask.
to come down
I
here.
did not ask.
We're on the same thing.
I didn't ask.
We're still talking about the same thing.
I did not ask for more lore. You once again gave me another Jesus fact that I just didn't ask for. What we're talking about is God the Father. God the Father is not made up of cells, which means that God the Father cannot possibly be alive.
Well, so another Jesus fact. Jesus is part of God.
I didn't ask. We're talking about God the Father. The reason why you can't stay and answer for God the Father is because you know you have no answer on this subject. You need to keep on expanding the scope to shit we're not talking about. I'm talking about God the Father for a very specific reason.
I'm going to ask you a question. Why isn't God real? Why is
yeah, because we want to pivot away. The reason why God isn't real, why your God specifically isn't real, is because he's claimed to be all good, but in the Bible he's clearly a moral monster.
How is he a moral monster?
He says that slavery is okay. He unalives children in 1 Samuel 15:3. He unalives children in Deuteronomy. He unalives children in Exodus. He unalives children in the flood. He commands the unaliving of children in Exodus, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy. He is just like kind of a crazy, sick dude.
So really you're just putting out one verse at a time. If you go through and read the whole scripture between where those are, the scriptures around it, it will show to you that's not exactly what happened. He did it for the good of this planet.
Why was slaughtering the Amalekite children good for the good of the planet?
Why he slaughtered them? I wouldn't say he slaughtered them.
Oh, well, those are his words, not mine. Well, let's just look at them. 1 Samuel 15:3.
Oh, I am. I'm clocking out. Let me clock out.
Now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. Do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey. So it says quite explicitly, in fact, go and slaughter their children. So why would God say to go and slaughter their children? That's pretty fucked up.
Why would it say that?
Yeah. Why would it say that?
Why would it?
Why would what?
So good, God was very forgiving and very fair to us. That
Was he forgiving?
Was he
Oh,
forgiven?
more Jesus facts that I just didn't ask for. Of course, you know, you need to run to the
You
fact
know
that
my
he
belief is
sacrificed himself to
Christianity. Do you know
himself
what Christianity
to
is?
forgive us from himself. So what I'm focused on is the Amalekite children. They weren't forgiven. They were slaughtered, as were all of the Amalekites.
Well, when God's all knowing, he knows exactly what's going to happen in the future. When he slaughters all those kids, it's got a probably good reason behind it. Can I tell you the reason? No, I'm not God.
Yeah, give me the reason why he just needed to slaughter the children. Go for it.
I just said I couldn't give you the reason. I'm
Oh,
not
okay,
God.
gotcha. So, we actually, there's no need to guess or speculate. We actually know what the reason was. It was because 300 years earlier, Amalekites had attacked the Israelites as they were leaving Egypt. The Amalekites did something horrible 300 years ago, and now God was unaliving all of them in retribution for this fact.
Okay. You know,
Pretty
you still...
fucked up.
No, I wouldn't say it is. I mean...
So you think killing kids is fine?
Well, God probably had a pretty good reason. Like you said, the reason sounded pretty good of a reason. I think...
You think it's... So they were executed for the crime. They had the wrong parents as their crime. They were born to the wrong bloodline. That was their crime.
Was it...
They weren't at war with this group of people.
You're just going to why God isn't good.
What?
You're going to why God isn't good.
Yeah.
God is good.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, this is an example of why God is not good. Because God can't be all good and also command the slaughtering of infants. That's a contradiction.
So you're saying the judge can't be good because they sent a kid to jail for doing a crime?
Did the newborns commit crimes? What were the newborns guilty of? Gotcha. So then this is disanalogous. Yeah, if a judge sends a kid to jail for not doing a crime, excuse me, or if a judge sends a kid to jail for the crimes of their parents, they would be evil. Yeah.
That doesn't prove why God isn't good, because you don't know exactly what was wrong with the planet back then. You don't know exactly what was wrong with the kids.
We know exactly why God commanded it. It's because their 300 years prior, their previous generation did something bad. That doesn't justify unaliving newborns.
Something wrong with the generation that was still going on.
Do you think that it would be justified for us right now today to go over and start like bombing Germany?
Do I think it'd be okay?
Yeah, do you think that would be fine?
No, because they're another creation of God. Everyone.
What, are the Amalekites not a creation of God?
I mean, yeah, they are. But
gotcha. So then why would it be wrong, despite the fact that
will, and that they chose to rebel against God, and they're choosing not to live for God, and they're choosing to hate on His creation.
So was this choice made by the newborns, or was it made by a generation that lived 300 years earlier?
Do what? Re-ask that. I was reading.
Was this decision to rebel against God made by the newborns, the infants, or was it made by generations 300 years earlier?
I mean, we've all rebelled against God, so I mean, I guess yeah, it was part of the newborns also.
So the newborns deserved to. So the newborns deserved to get slaughtered, is what you're saying. What did the newborns do?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. They didn't do anything. They're newborns. Newborns don't do anything.
Answer to me why God isn't real, please.
Because God can't be all good and also command the slaughter of newborns, because that's evil.
Okay. This is all I'm gonna say is
vacuous nonsense. Go for it.
When I look at life, this is gonna be the last thing to say probably, because I gotta go home. I'm at work. But when I look at life and I look at everything around me, okay? Everything has came from something, an intelligent mind. A car is created by an intelligent human. Another human is created by two intelligent humans. Everything was made by something that had an intelligent mind. So So when I see life around me, I'm going to assume there's intelligent mind that created everything around me. I'm not going to assume that it came from nothing when I have never seen a human come from nothing.
Was God made by an intelligent design?
No, God is the beginning and the end. God is the
Gotcha.
Omega.
So
and
then, not everything in your worldview is made by an intelligent design. Have you ever seen a mind without a body?
Have I ever seen a mind without a body?
Yeah. Have you ever seen a mind without a body?
No.
Gotcha. So by your same logic, you say that everything that we've ever seen, it's always come from a creator. Every mind that I've ever seen has always had a body, but God the Father doesn't have a body. It's a mind without a body, which means that the exact same inductive logic would apply against you.
Can you tell me how you know this?
I don't think God is
God
real.
doesn't have a body.
Because
How do you
that's
know
just
God
the
doesn't
standard
have a
conception of him. I mean, if he has a body, where did his body come from? Who made his body?
He did. He's the beginning and the end. He is
Oh,
eternal.
sure. So he made his own body. Brilliant. So he didn't exist at first, and then he just made himself into existence. Brilliant.
Okay, tell me how we got here then. Please tell me how
How
we
did
got
I
here.
think we got here via a process of evolution because you can't defend your own view.
Okay, so if we got here from evolution, how did those animals and stuff, the monkeys, whatever that we came from, how did they get here? Please tell me how they got here.
From evolution also. Also, we didn't come from
Evolution.
monkeys.
Where'd we come from?
We are great apes. Our ancestors are apes. If you go back even farther, they just become like mammals generally. And then if you go back even farther, they become like single-celled organisms.
So we came from that. We just came from one little thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you get it. Yeah.
So you believe we basically came from matter and energy and just
Well, we are matter and energy, to be clear.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, so we are matter and energy. We came from matter and energy. Correct.
Yeah. So, but do you believe like it just started, just matter and energy created us into evolution up to us?
Yeah.
Is that what you believe? Like it started with just matter and energy, and like evolution came up to us.
Specific matter and energy, but yes, that's exactly correct. Yeah.
Hold on, I think I'm lagging, or you are. I don't know. Re-say that.
Yes, specific matter and energy. Yes. That's exactly where we came from. But you presumably think
at
that
home,
God
man.
said abracadabra and then created all of us.
Be honest, I'm really glitchy right now. I only got one bar.
All right. Well, I'll probably just move on to the next guest. Addy, thank you so much. Appreciate that. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran. You have an argument which does not involve personal experience. Castile, thank you so much. Also, Grimlock, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. Hail, Grimlock. Hail, 666. Hail, Satan. I appreciate the hell out of that. Thank you so much. If you want to join the community, there's a link to the Discord in my bio. I'd love to see you in the Discord. We talk politics, religion, and philosophy. We have a little reading group going. So if you want to learn more about philosophy, you want to get cracked at discussing these topics, feel free to join. Thank you so much, India. Big W, India. Appreciate that. It's 7 p.m. Eastern time. Just join the Discord and go to the section labeled reading club, I think, or reading group, or like weekly reading maybe. And with that, we'll go to the next guest. Purdy, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Big W Purdy in the comment section. That's so cool. Day,
Hey.
how's it going? How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. How old are you?
I am 30.
And what religion?
I'm a Christian.
Okay. What's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
Okay, have you ever seen life come from non-life?
Oh, we can just run the same topic. I mean, if this is your standard of evidence, have you ever seen a mind without a body?
No.
Gotcha. So even if I say I've never seen life come from non-life, this
Right.
standard would still beat your argument because we've never seen a mind without a body, which would preclude God's existence.
Okay, well, what I believe in is Jesus is God's body.
That's
sit down a
nice.
human host.
But does God the Father have a body?
He's got spirit, he's got body, which was Jesus. You know what I'm saying? He is God.
Is Jesus the same person as God the Father?
Okay, this is how it goes. God is all-knowing. He's spirit. He humbled himself, came down in human form.
This is just a Jesus fact I didn't ask for. Do you even remember the question?
What'd you ask?
Is Jesus the same person as God the Father?
Yes.
Oh, that's blasphemy. You reject the Trinity. Okay. As long as you're fine with the understanding that you're doing blasphemy, then that's totally fine.
It ain't blasphemy. Blasphemy
If you
is
say
when
that
reject
the
Holy
Son
Spirit. That's
is the
blasphemy.
Father, that's blasphemy.
God is Holy Spirit. He's the Alpha, the Omega. He is
More God facts I didn't ask for.
everything in the cosmos is pointing there is something that created us. Even scientists that are much smarter than you have said this. So how do you explain all that?
Oh, which sign? So, I mean, that's just an appeal to authority, first of all.
see it all the time.
But even smarter scientists have formulated that we have no creator via something called the quantum eternity theorem, which states that the universe has existed forever
you believe in the
insofar
Big
as there's a non-zero amount of energy.
Do you believe in the Big Bang?
Yeah.
So you believe something okay, explain the Big Bang to me.
The Big Bang is the rapid expansion of the manifold that we exist on.
Okay, can you explain that even more?
So we exist in like a space. This space rapidly expanded around, I don't know, like is it 13 billion or is it 13 trillion years ago? I can't get the units right. But yeah, there's this like space-time and it expanded, and now we currently exist on the expanded space-time. If you're interested in the evidence, that's just the cosmic microwave background radiation. Additionally, the universe is much bigger than it used to be, as is indicated by the cosmic microwave background radiation, and it's also continuing to expand, given the fact that dark energy is having an expansionary effect on the space-time that we exist on.
So have they proved this fact, this Big Bang theory?
Well, so that's not really the objective in science, is to give like the deductive 100% proof, but rather to just gain and evaluate the evidence. And if new evidence ever comes along that disproves it, then you would create like a new theory, a new hypothesis. So they've gathered a mountain of evidence, as opposed to your no evidence that one day God said abracadabra.
No, there's plenty of evidence there's a God.
Yeah, what's the evidence?
Evidence, okay. What about all the eye testimonies and everything with Jesus? You know
Gotcha. Wait, and so what you're attempting to do?
I'm not done.
Yep.
All the miracles that happen in the Bible, all the eyewitness testimonies, all the manuscripts dating back to the eyewitness testimonies, and the stories in the Bible.
So I got a easy question for you. What's the evidence that the Bible is true?
There's more evidence that the Bible's true than the Big Bang Theory is true.
Yeah, what's the evidence?
I just said all the eyewitnesses and everything.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So why is my
disciples
why is my
get crucified for a man that they didn't believe in?
Why is my power strip not working? Oh, and I'm sorry. Wait, where can I read about those things? Where can I read about these people getting crucified for a lie? Where can I read about that? Oh, yeah, of course. So can you tell me why my power strip isn't working about it, or isn't working?
Why isn't it working?
Why is it not working? Why is no power coming out of it?
It's not plugged to an outlet.
Yeah, exactly. It's plugged into itself. You can't plug it into itself and get power. And you can't cite the Bible to prove that the Bible is true. Grimlock, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. Hail Grimlock. Hail 666. Hail Satan. Big W Grimlock.
So you don't believe in a God, but you believe in
Purdy,
Satan.
thank you. Appreciate it. No, I don't.
But you hail him?
Yeah, I do. Purdy,
You know
thank
what
you
I think
so
it
much.
is?
Big W. Let's get another Big W, Purdy. Appreciate that.
You debaters don't want to believe in. You just don't want to believe. Like you don't put the research into the Bible. You don't want to do any of it. It don't matter if somebody came in here and gave you eyewitness testimony or anything like that. You're not going to change your mind.
Wait, so the Bible is true. So you're setting this eyewitness testimony as the evidence that Jesus is God. This eyewitness testimony is only true if the Bible is true because it resides in the Bible. So I ask you, why is the Bible true? And then you just give me the claim again that it's true because of the eyewitness testimony. That the eyewitness testimony is true because of the eyewitness testimony.
How do you get proof? Eyewitness testimony. Why do you believe in history like Napoleon? You believe in Napoleon, right?
We probably have writings from Napoleon, but the reason why I believe historical things is a wide variety of historical accounts that are verified and all tell the exact same story. Now, the accounts of Jesus are largely unverified and also tell a wildly different story.
So they're unverified.
Yep.
How?
So they're unverified insofar as the Gospels were all written anonymously.
By how many people?
I think Luke, I don't think we know the answer to that insofar as John is claimed to have been written by multiple people.
So all these eyewitness testimonies, they just lied.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not getting anywhere. You can just, yeah, we're not getting anywhere.
Okay. Well, appreciate you coming on up here. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. Let's try to get this live in front of as many people as we can. Make sure you're sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. Double tap on that screen. If you want to support the stream, the Venmo's allegedly -Ian. Cash App is just allegedly Ian. Let's try to get all the way up to 130k likes, say. If you want to join the community, there's a link to the Discord in my bio. We talk politics, religion, philosophy. We also have a reading group every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'd love to see you there. It's just a great time, and you'll learn new things. I'm like actually genuinely there. Only join if you're 18 or older, but I'm begging all of you. What the fuck? Was that Ethene? Ain't no way. God, the goat live in action. That's crazy. Damn, Ethene's a runner. Let's get a big L Ethene in that comment section. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Buddy, God's real,
Buddy, you gotta be like 18 or older in order to like request to join. So just keep on double tapping on that screen share with your friends. Hey, what's up? How's it going, V?
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
You do not sound 18.
Yes, I am.
Seriously, you gotta be 18 or older. You gotta believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and have an argument which does not involve personal experience. What's up, Global? Okay, I accept your surrender. Folded like a chair, milked like an almond, get your ankles absolutely shattered. You will never debate again. And with that, we'll go to the very next one. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Pablo?
Yo, I had a question, bro. So
I have two questions for you first.
Go
First,
ahead.
how old are you?
I'm 19, bro.
And what year were you born?
05.
What year did you graduate?
What does that have to do with like God isn't real?
Oh yeah, because you're not
hoe.
18.
Fuck you, bitch.
Because you're not 18. That's what it has to do. Seriously, if you are not 18, don't request to join. 18 or older, don't request to join. Damn, we'll never get any of these joiners. I'm just trying to looking for real hardcore joiners. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Drew?
How you doing?
Doing well. What religion are you?
Oh, I'm a Christian.
Okay, what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
I just want to ask, why aren't we involving personal experience?
Because it's just 100% unverifiable, because what I'm trying to do is host debates and personal experience isn't debatable.
Okay, so I'll start with saying, I know this is your like platform, so you're gonna be pretty firm in your argument, and I know there's not much convincing I can do with you.
That's not true. I don't accept that at all.
Okay, so you want me to start out with it, or why? Like, could I?
Yeah,
have you
just
start
like
out
a
the
reason to think that God is real. Like, do you have like
No
a philosophical argument or like scientific evidence that you think is compelling or like points to God, or like historical evidence that you think is compelling or points to God?
Okay, I know you said no personal experiences. This is like it's leading into a biblical thing. If that
Can you
makes
just
sense.
get to like the biblical thing?
Okay, so I grew up as a Christian, but it was more my parents, and then I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. And then I started actually walking in my own faith, and it was kind of just God was presenting himself to me. And it's no matter what there's many things. I played sports. There's many things that have brought me joy, but it's really nothing eternal.
I'm so sorry. Can you just get to the point where we conclude that God is real?
Could you tell me why you don't think he's real?
Yeah, because of all of the grotesque suffering that exists in the world around us. The existence of earthquakes, like inhospitable environments, the fact that kids are unalived by cancer, the fact that there's literally a disorder which causes 2-year-old children to compulsively gouge their own eyes out. All of these things to me are really strong evidence that God doesn't exist, because if he did exist, then he wouldn't allow these for a wide variety of reasons.
Okay, that's respectable. A lot of the problems that, this is my opinion at least, that the reason that problems come about is the absence of God rather than the presence of God, along with Satan, I think just brings out.
That's not too compatible with what the Bible says, because like, for example, cancer comes about because of the way your anatomy is structured. Your cellular anatomy is structured in such a way that it allows for cancer very often. So everybody, me, you, everyone has cancer cells in our body. So this happens because every time your DNA replicates itself, it needs to replicate 3 billion things in an exact order. But of course, it's not going to be able to do that. So it fucks up literally all the time, constantly. This leads to mutations. One of those mutations leads to cancer. So because of the way God designed our cellular anatomy in your worldview, that is literally the direct cause of cancer. So it's not the absence of God. God literally did it.
I mean, those are if you look at like cancer and a lot of, even cases of autism and how they're on the rise, percentage-wise within the population, a lot of people, including me, believe that that's coming from like worldly things that have been created over time, whether that's pollution, whether that's different types of chemicals in foods, pesticides, all that type of stuff. But I think you're like pivoting more towards like scientific stuff rather than like, I think we're talking biblical.
Does your Bible not hold up to religious or to scientific scrutiny?
I mean, I feel like that you're talking like biological stuff, I feel.
Yeah, I am. Because you think that God designed biology. So yeah, we would be able to look into biology and then see God's work in it. We could evaluate our biology as just a product of God. But we can't do that, because if you start looking into our DNA, it's crazy. Our DNA is terribly made. Like 85% of it is completely useless. Why would 85% of it be completely useless if God designed it all?
So who do you think made it?
I think that it evolved. Our DNA very clearly just looks like careful stepwise tinkering that happened over billions of years. Evolution is what made our DNA.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let me ask you this. I haven't been following you I just came across your live. This is the first time I've seen you. But have you heard like it's like an analogy used a lot, and it's like there's a house, there has to be a creator. I'm sure you've heard that analogy.
Yeah, I've heard that one. But
Yeah.
so first of all,
What do you think about that?
There's two things. First, if this is your standard of evidence, then we would conclude that God isn't real, because what you're making is like in all the cases we've seen type argument. Well, in all the cases we've seen, a mind has to have a body. So if your argument is that a house has to have a builder, then I'd say that a mind has to have a body because all the cases of minds that we've ever seen have bodies. But second of all, that's not true because we actually don't, for the house example specifically, because we don't have any priors as to where universes come from. We don't know what creates universes, but we do know what makes houses, which means that it's just not analogous.
So do you think that the universe just, I mean, there has to be a creator. And what do you think that creator is?
I don't think that if you're using creator in like a very like specific like mind
Hey, thanks,
sense
Joe.
of creator, like a creator who has like a mind, then I don't agree with this. But if you just mean like something caused it, I probably also don't agree with this. I think the universe has just always existed.
It's always existed,
Yeah, it's always existed.
and there was just no life at a point, and then life just came out of nowhere, you think?
Yeah, the universe has always been changing. One of the things that can happen in the universe is the formation of life. It's rare, but it does happen.
There has to be a point at which the universe was created.
Why?
Why? Because it didn't come out of nowhere.
I don't think it came from anywhere. I think that it's just always existed.
I'm not getting that.
So before today there was a day, and before that day there was a day, and before that day there was a day, and before that day there was a day, just stretching back infinitely.
Yeah, I get you, but
There's no first day.
yeah, I mean, we're going to disagree on that, and that's not going to change. But I think that there's a creator to the universe, and that's kind of my strongest argument, along with plenty of personal accounts. But I know we're not using those in this.
All right, so I can give you an argument for why God couldn't possibly create the universe. So do you agree that creation is a change of states?
Repeat that.
Do you agree that creation is a change of states?
A change of state? No.
Oh, okay. So when is creation not a change of states?
Creation is when you turn nothing to something. It's not a change.
So there was nothing before, and then there's something. Is nothing the same as something?
Is nothing the same? No.
Gotcha. So nothing is different from something. So to go from nothing to something, that would be a change.
Okay. Keep going.
Yeah, so then creation is a change of states. Do you agree that a change of states requires at least two states?
Yeah.
And do you agree that in order to progress from one state to another state, that you would need time?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So then in order to create, time must exist, which means God can't create time, because in order to create, time must exist. But if God hasn't created time yet, then time would not exist, which means the necessary condition for creating time in the first place wouldn't be met.
Okay. I wanted to ask you this as well. I was wondering this. Where
do you acknowledge that God couldn't have created time?
No, I disagree with that, but I see where you're coming
which
from.
part of the argument do you disagree with?
I mean, it's hard to explain. I mean, it's non-comprehensible to the human mind. That's widely acknowledged. But as I've been reading through the Bible, I'm starting from the beginning, and I've been reading throughout. Have you read parts of the Bible before?
Yeah, I've read parts of the Bible. Yeah, I think the beginning is a terrible way to start, or is a terrible place to start. Have I read Genesis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first book?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been reading through that with my buddy these past few days, and you don't think it makes sense at all?
Well, first of all, like Genesis is wrong in like a number of places. It is literally wrong about the scientific fact. It says that the earth is older than the sun, when in fact we know it's the opposite. And it says that there was like a great worldwide flood that wiped out all of the life on earth. But if that's true, why do we have flowers?
But it didn't wipe out all life. Noah was commanded to build the ark.
So did Noah bring in all types of flowers?
All
did
types
he bring
of
in
life.
all? So Noah brought all of the plants on Earth.
I mean, maybe seeds.
So your theory is that Noah brought seeds of every single plant on the entire world?
No, plants. There's new plants created every day. They're mutated. So maybe there was only a couple different species of flowers at the time. I don't know what we're talking about flowers, but
So you think that they went into like hyper evolution immediately after the flood? Why don't we see so the number of plants that like new plants that would need to pop into existence since the flood would be so many every single day. Like if you just take a couple of plant seeds and then they later mutate into all the plants on Earth, that would just be an insane number of plants that you would need to take, or an insane number of plants that come into existence. That just seems like highly implausible to me. And
Yeah, I mean,
also,
that
so
was
are
quite
you
some
saying
time
that
ago.
are you saying that Noah crossed like the Atlantic Ocean, came to the Americas, and just planted all of these seeds? That Noah went on like a Johnny Appleseed style journey where he introduced all this plant life, that he took like a big delve into like botany?
No, I see what you're saying, but it's shortly after I think the Noah's Ark was from like chapters 6 through 7, or 4 through 7, I want to say. In chapters 8, it starts talking about the descendants and how they like dispersed throughout the world, and so it wasn't just Noah going on through adventures. It shortly after that talks about the descendants and how they spread through the world and began expanding on everything.
So you think that that all plant life on Earth was cultivated by the descendants of Noah?
I mean, there was a time where it was Noah, his children, and his wife at the time. So yes.
That just seems deeply implausible to me, but I guess I can just ask you a different question. If the flood happened, how did the kangaroos get to Australia?
How did the kangaroos get to Australia?
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure of that one, man.
Yeah, it's for
plenty
me,
of
there's like a
things.
really easy answer to it, which is that evolution happened. But of course, if you think that there was a global flood that wiped out all life on Earth, then you need to account for the fact that kangaroos are in Australia, yet they shouldn't be because they should have all gotten wiped out by the flood.
I mean, there was one of every species of animal on the boat.
Yeah, but how did they get from the Middle East to Australia?
I'm not sure of that one.
They had to cross like an entire sea.
How do you think they got there?
I think that they got there via evolution, that there was life on these places at the time of like Pangea, and then it split off but continued to evolve. That would be my account for how it got there, but of course that's incompatible with your account because Pangea was like 100 million years ago, and the flood would have been like, I don't know, like 10,000, maybe more. So the flood would have definitely wiped out all the kangaroos, which means that they would have had the task of getting from the Middle East back to Australia.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the idea of evolution when it comes to animals. When it comes to human life and the earth and everything, though, I do believe that there was a creator, and I believe that God is the Father.
So if God created us, why is 85% of our DNA useless?
Somebody went. I hope he's still in here. Somebody fact checked you, and in the chat, and they said it was false. They said they looked it up.
Oh, I can just give the study. So this comes from Oxford. It is.
Here, I got my computer up.
Oxford, 85% or 15% functional DNA. This study is. An upper limit on the functional fraction of the human genome by Dan Grar. The bottom line of the last line of the abstract is mutational load considerations lead to the conclusion that the functional fraction within the human genome cannot exceed 15%. In other words, what it's saying is that 15% is the highest possibly our amount of functional DNA could be, which means that at least 85% of our DNA is completely useless, non-functional.
I mean, yeah, there's studies I'm not denying that you have that study pulled up, but there's studies all over the place for men. I mean, there's studies that prove my point too. I'm guessing.
Yeah, cite one. Let's do a study analysis then, because that's typically how these things are resolved. It isn't just like,
A study.
well, you cite a study, I cite a
and
study, so I guess we shrug our shoulders. The way that these things work is that we both cite studies, and then we can evaluate each other's studies to actually understand the thing that it's saying. We can figure out which study is more credible and which one has a more reliable methodology. It isn't just like, well, we both cited studies, therefore there's a stalemate. So go ahead and cite your study.
A study in means to God being real. I mean,
In regards to all of our DNA being
I just got back
functional.
from my classes, and I'm just scrolling through TikTok, so I didn't come prepared for this.
But you said you
so
had a
I
computer
studied
right there, so do you want to just pop over and say like study finds 100% of DNA functional?
Oh no, I wasn't referring to the DNA. I'm sure there is plenty of DNA that's not at the moment useless, but I mean, maybe through mutations in human life down the road that it will be. I was referring to God being real, though. I'm sure there's plenty of studies.
Yeah, so if God created us though, why would so much of our DNA be useless?
At the moment, it may be useless. But
When's it going to be useful?
You know, I'm not sure. Are you?
So I'm pretty sure it's never going to be useful insofar. So a lot of the useless DNA is literally just the same sequence repeated over and over and over again. So that doesn't seem like it's ever going to be useful. You already have like one of the sequence, you don't need multiple of the sequence. And of course, like it's, a different repetition in each of these sequences. But yeah, I think, I wrote it down because it comes from a book. So let me find the statistic.
Is it totally useless if I can breathe, you can breathe, I can reproduce?
Yeah, it is, because we would be able to do all those things without it. So 5% of the human genome is considered repetitive. That is, 90% of the genes are repeated. This means the genes came from a duplication process rather than a careful design.
So what's the harm in that?
The harm is that it's harmful to our cellular metabolism, that our cells function less efficiently because they have to lug all this shit around. They have to construct it with their own resources. And every time it's replicated, they have to replicate it with their own resources. Also, lots of these elements are mobile, which means they will replicate themselves and then pop on over to places where the DNA actually is functional, which means the useless DNA can make your useful DNA into useless DNA. Happens literally all the time. That's the harm of it.
Okay. I mean, I see where you're coming from, but obviously there's genetic mutations as time has gone on. Like I've said, different things that have been created, different styles in diets, different styles in exercise habits, sleeping habits, all that type of stuff. That modifies our cells, our DNA, and
Sure, but interestingly enough, animals also have the exact same DNA problems. Their DNA is not any better off.
I just saw this from somebody in the chat. I'll admit it, but we've survived. Probably millions, billions, I'm not sure, of years with our DNA.
Millions, billions of I'm not sure the exact number, so our DNA, we've survived in spite of our DNA, not because of it. Our DNA, like the useless DNA, has the propensity to turn other DNA into useless DNA, and it also takes up cellular resources. It limits our cells' metabolism and ability to actually succeed in this world because it's full of useless DNA.
Okay.
So your cells have to lug around and replicate all of this useless DNA. They would be much more efficient if it wasn't the case. They would operate 30 times more efficiently without this useless DNA.
Okay. I see where you're getting at with that one, but I think my cells, my DNA, everything is made up great. And obviously I think there's worldly creations throughout time that have hindered and slowed our the functions and the usefulness of our body. If you look, we were referring to Genesis earlier. People live 900, 800 years in Genesis. So, at least according to the Bible.
There's just no evidence for any of that. Like, what's your evidence?
The whole Christianity, the religion and the basis of Christianity is leaned upon faith. So there's not evidence and you can't prove God, but it's based on faith. And this is what I tell a lot of people: why not believe in God? Because if you spend your life believing in God and trusting in God, and you die, and what's your opinion on the afterlife? What do you think happens after we die?
I don't think anybody knows, but I have multiple problems, like epistemic problems. I think it's irresponsible to have beliefs that are based on faith. That faith is just pretending to know something that you don't actually know. Why would you ever want to do that? And why should anyone ever respect somebody else's decision to pretend to know things that they don't actually know?
No, I'm saying, what's your view on the afterlife? What do you think happens after we die?
I don't think anybody knows what happens in the afterlife. And the people
Okay,
who
so-
claim to know what happens in the afterlife are lying.
Okay, so let me tell you this. If I live my whole life for God, telling people about Jesus, walking with Jesus, let's say it's made up in my head that if I'm believing in Jesus, I'm happier, then I live my life, if it's a placebo, I live my life happier and I die and nothing happens. If I live my life not believing in God and he is real, then you die and you face God one day and you spend an eternity without him. You know what I mean with that?
Yeah, so let's imagine anti-God. This anti-God is going to send all the people who believe in God straight to hell because he's the one who actually runs the place, and he's going to bring all the people who don't believe in God straight up to heaven. Now, if I don't believe in God, then I get to go to heaven if anti-God turns out to be real. But if I do believe in God, then I'm doomed to hell for all eternity if it turns out that anti-God is real.
I mean, what do you mean by anti-God?
Yeah, so let's just imagine a God who's going to do the exact opposite, who, if real, is going to send all the believers in God to hell and bring all the non-believers straight to heaven.
And why would that be the case?
Well, why would it be the case that your God exists?
Because
why would it be the case of faith?
If in my faith, I don't know what you're meaning by that. In my faith, if I believe in the creator of the universe and he created man to be like God and be holy, then why would he send people to hell that believe in him and follow him?
Why would he? Oh, no, because God doesn't exist in this scenario. It's actually anti-God. That you need to contend with the possibility that actually the afterlife is anti-God, chilling with all the atheists and other non-believers, and all of the believers got sent straight to hell.
Yeah, so if I die and there's, in this scenario, like you're saying, no God, then there's no problem, then I'm just dead.
No, because anti-God sends you to hell forever.
What is what is
So
anti-God?
anti-God is just like an all-powerful entity who is going to send all of the believers in God to hell and bring all the non-believers to heaven.
Why would that be the case?
Why would it be the case that your God is real?
You're confusing me with this one.
It's the exact same thing as yours, but it's just, it has the opposite, like, so you laid out this like game theory matrix, this like, well, if you make this decision, then there'll be, and this is true, then there will be this outcome. So I'm just giving you the opposite matrix because you said that you can't prove your God exists. All you can do is rely on faith. You have no reason to have faith in one thing over another thing. So there's no reason to have faith in God as opposed to anti-God. And there's no reason why God would exist as opposed to anti-God existing. So insofar as there's no reasons to believe in either God or anti-God, I figure that the probability that either of them exist is like roughly the same, which means that I have it's actually the exact opposite, that if I would be right in this instance to not believe in God.
Yeah, I mean, I have plenty of reason to believe God is real, but it's through personal experience, which you're not interested in hearing about, which is, I mean, that's
Yeah.
fine. It's your live.
That's fine, yeah. So, do you have anything else?
No. Good talking to you, though.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on up here.
Yeah, have a go, man.
Yeah, you as well. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. Make sure you're dropping that follow as well if you're enjoying the debates. You never want to miss one in the future. Why would you? It's great. You learn so much. If you want to join the community, there's a link to the Discord in my bio. It's discord.gg/allegedlyian. We talk about politics, religion, and philosophy, and we have weekly reading groups for philosophy papers. Chet, thank you so much for the dinosaur. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for the subscription extension. Big W Chet in the comment section. And thank you so much, Princess Leia. Yeah, if you are in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older, you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. If you want to support the stream, Venmo's allegedly-Ian, Cash App is just allegedly Ian, and with that, we'll go to the very next guest. Let's get it. How's it going?
How it's going? Good. And you?
You're a bit muffled. Are you covering your mic?
Do you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you much better now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I do have a question for you because, as a conclusion, I cannot prove you that God exists. I can give you some arguments like teleology, cosmology.
Please, yeah, give me those arguments. I love those
Yes,
arguments.
yes, but the point that I want to give you is if I understand that God that I'm telling you that God exists, so it's a tangible question, it's metaphysics. I cannot prove it to you.
Whoa, Ethan, thank you so much for the $100 on Venmo. Huge W, Ethan, in the comment section. That's crazy. Oh my God, I appreciate the hell out of that, Ethan. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Sorry, I freaked out there.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But in the same meantime, I can tell you that you cannot prove to me that God ain't real. You cannot prove it, actually. You can give me also
Yeah, I
some
can.
arguments, but it's gonna go in the same way that you're believing in something that is not factual and you cannot prove it. You cannot prove that God exists. So you're in the same position than me because you're
That's not
also
true.
believing in something that is not factual. So in the same way, we're in the same movement. I do believe in God. I put my faith in God, but I cannot prove it to you. I can give you some arguments, but you can just give me some arguments also. So later you said to my brother that it's incredible because we're believing in something that we cannot prove, but you're talking also with something that you cannot prove yourself that God exists. It's a tangible question. So you're in the same position than us.
Do you want me to prove to you that God doesn't exist? I can
cannot
prove to
prove
you that God doesn't exist.
You cannot prove it.
Are you?
I mean,
what's what's the argument for why I can't prove that God exists? Can you prove that I can't prove that God exists?
With arguments. You cannot.
Can you
prove
wait
something
because
with
you're making the claim? Can you
you're
prove
going
that
to
I
see-
can't prove that God exists?
You cannot prove that God doesn't.
Do you want to
exist,
see
and
me
you-
prove it?
Okay, but you cannot prove
Do
something
you
that
do you
is
want to see me
tangible.
prove it? I can prove it. Do you want to see me prove it?
Okay, prove it, but with proof, not with
Yeah.
arguments, because you cannot prove with arguments. Proof is facts and don't physics facts. You cannot
Yeah.
just prove something that is tangible. So
Yeah,
prove
wait,
it.
so the premise one is going to be that contradictions don't exist, or that worldviews that entail contradictions aren't true.
Yes, but this is an argument. You're giving me an argument. You're not giving me a fact.
Yes. Well, wait. An
giving me
argument
an
is just
argument.
Ethan, thank you so much for the $20 for feeling that. I appreciate that. Big W, Ethan. That brings Ethan up to $120. That's incredible. Big W, Ethan. Thank you so much. Yeah, wait. So an argument is a proof. A deductive argument is a proof.
No. When
Yes, yes.
You're talking with
Yes.
someone that do believe in God, but
You're talking to someone who has a degree in mathematics. I know what a proof is.
Okay, I understand. But when you cannot, an argument is not proof.
If it's deductive, it is proof. That's what a proof is. A proof is a deductive argument.
But when you go see, because there's a lot of people, and actually this debate, this question is a question that is more than 2,000 years old. So until today, there's no one that prove it. You cannot prove it, my guy. You can.
Do you want to? You haven't even let me try to prove it.
Because I know that you cannot prove it.
Then let me
I
wait. Then
know
let me
you
prove
cannot
it.
prove it because
If you're so you lack
even
confidence in
Stephen
your own
Hawking-
position. You're scared to let me prove
Hawking,
it.
That is one of the
You're
best
scared to let me
cosmologists
prove it.
of our air.
You are
cannot
scared to
prove
let
that
me
God
prove it.
doesn't
You're
exist.
scared.
I'm not scared, my guy.
Then let me
Okay,
prove it.
Okay, prove it.
Yeah.
Don't use
So
argument. Don't
wait,
use
an argument is a proof. A proof is an argument.
No, it's not.
A proof is a type of argument. An
So
argument
what-
is just
what-
wait. So
what
so an
does- okay.
argument is just a reason to believe something, or it's just a thing to believe and a reason to believe something. So the proof, the premises are the
What is-
step-by-step
what is
proof
the
on
key-
why
what
we
is-
believe it,
what
and then
is
the
the
thing to
catch-
believe is that God isn't real. We would prove
Okay.
that God isn't real by going step-by-step deductively to indicate that God isn't real.
Okay, but first of all, can you tell me what you need? What is important to be a proof? So what you need
So-
actually for a proof to
So-
be valid?
in order for a proof to be valid, it needs to follow along a specific logical pattern. The one that I'm using is modus ponens, which is if X is true, then Y is true. X is true, therefore we know Y is true. Oh, actually, no, it's modus tollens. That if X is true, then Y is true. Y is not true, therefore X cannot be true. So are you interested in the proof?
I'm gonna let you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. If God, no, Ethan, it's okay. I get the joke. No, I saw it. No, you're chilling. Ethan, I got the joke the first time even. So the argument is going to be that if God is real and perfect and designed us, then our anatomy is perfect. Premise 2, our anatomy is not perfect. Conclusion, God cannot be real, perfect, and have designed us.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, that's the argument. Therefore, God doesn't exist.
Okay, but what is so? I'm gonna let you think about something. If you say that of course it's true that Christianity we do think that God is omnipotent, so God is perfect in everything that he do. After, it depends how we see perfection. So it depends because perfection can be a lot of things, you know, and you're you know.
So
after, like you said, of course the human body is not perfect, and it's not perfect. The reality it's that it's not perfect.
Well, okay, wait, perfect. So do you agree that God would be a perfect engineer?
I do believe that God is a perfect engineer. Yes.
Does a perfect engineer ever make a design with design flaws?
Is a perfect engineer would not do, or no, you're right. Yes, a perfect engineer would not do unperfect false. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But the human body does have design flaws, so God cannot be a perfect engineer because a perfect engineer's design would not have design flaws. The human genome has tons of design flaws.
It depends how. Can you tell me which kind of thing that is unperfect?
Yeah, so 85% of our DNA is completely useless. This useless DNA has a propensity to replicate itself and interfere with the actual useful DNA. Our DNA is made up of like 3 billion nucleotide pairs that need to be exactly and perfectly replicated, which inevitably leads to things like cancer because it fails to replicate it. And in fact, your cell... the most damning thing of all is that your cell knows that it's not perfect, which is why it tries to repair things after replication. But of course, the repairing process is also not perfect. Your DNA, your genome is just full of design flaws.
So you're telling me that because because we have a DNA that is not perfect, this is why we have so much disease and all of that.
Yes. Oh, exactly. That is exactly right. Yes.
Okay. But you know, God is of course perfection, and his creation is and his creation is supposed to be perfection. After, the reason why, you know, because some people is putting God fault with all of the disease and all of that, but are we certain that our DNA that we have today, it's not because of God, but because of humans? Because we can say that technically we're changing the world, and it's not God manifestation, it's us with our free will that is changing the world. It's for that reason today that we have so many disease, so because we're not eating what we're supposed to eat, and a bunch of things. So is it the human cause or it's God? You
Oh,
know,
we can be quite certain of this because these same design flaws existed in the creatures that existed before us. The dinosaurs, so one of the common things that results from the way our genome is structured is cancer. Everyone has cancer cells in them because of how poorly it's all made and structured. Dinosaurs had cancer and dinosaurs existed before us, which means that they had the same underlying cellular mechanisms, which means that we have no reason to think
cancer is not
that
dangerous.
humans created our genetic structure to be this way.
Yes. Cancer in the base is not dangerous. We all know that we all have cancer in our bodies, but it's actually the manifestation of a growing cancer that is problematic and that is doing the damage. But I mean, you know, that is actually a good way to see it. I'm gonna say in humility that I don't, and I'm not also a biologist, so it's a little bit difficult for me to understand certain things that you're talking about because I didn't do biology, so I don't really know the function about DNA. It's really not my job. But you do make a good point, and humility, you do put a good point that if that is true, we could say that the human body is not perfect. After, it's a little bit difficult for me to continue this conversation because biology is really not my thing. So it's a little bit difficult when you were talking about X, Y, and Z. I know that it's DNA, but it's like really things that I didn't study, so it's a little bit difficult for me.
Okay,
to
that's
understand
totally
what
fine,
you're
totally
talking about.
understandable. No, and I appreciate your humility to admit when you don't know something.
I actually don't know. So I mean, because I mean I know base of biology, but you know the mostly of the stuff that you're talking about I just don't know. You know, so it's a little bit difficult for me to understand. But I know, of course, and even you know, and by example in theology, the excuse that we're gonna have, the Bible is saying that all of the bad on the universe is not caused by God, but by demons. So by example,
That's not true.
I mean, I'm just talking about theology. I'm not talking about. I'm just talking what.
Yeah,
the
but that's just out of line with what we know about science. That specifically, you know, you're more likely to get skin cancer if you're out in the sun. But why are demons targeting people who are out in the sun? That just doesn't make sense. It seems like the much simpler explanation is the scientific one, which is that UV rays are what cause these mutations, not demons. Pax, thank you so much for the subscription. Welcome to the community. Glad you're here. You got anything else?
But actually, the manifestation of what the Bible say the demons is more complicated than that. You know, it's all a system about free will. So we all know what is good for us, and we all know what is not good for us, and we're free to decide. But in theology, we do say that what is bad for us is contrary about God nature, so that is it's automatically demons. After, of course, you can say that in our universe you have some parasites, you have some disease that are not made by demons but by God, and that is destroying certain life or even affecting us. After, I'm gonna say that in this manner I cannot continue. You know, you should maybe talk with a religious guy, but a guy that have the same study in biology than you, because as a guy that didn't study biology, it's a little bit difficult for me to continue trying to find a solution to your suggestion.
That's quite all right.
Biology. So maybe I'm not the good guy. Of course, with that, after I can I don't know if you have another argument. Of course, I can, but I mean, in this fact, I didn't study the other, so it's a little bit difficult for me. Say, okay, I can try to, because I don't understand 50% of what you're talking.
Okay, I can give you just like a super classical problem of evil that if God is all good, all powerful, and all knowing, then evil would not exist. Evil does exist. Therefore, a God who is all good, all powerful, and all knowing doesn't exist. Now, the reasoning for the first premise, before you ask about it, is that a being who is all powerful has the power to eradicate evil. A being, oh wait, Grimlock, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. Hail Grimlock, hail 666, hail Satan, big. I appreciate the hell out of that. I think there was a second one too. Oh no, I'm chilling. So that they have a being which is all powerful has the power to destroy evil. A being which is all knowing has the knows how to destroy all that evil. And a being who is all good would have a desire to destroy all that evil. But which means that evil wouldn't exist, but evil does exist. So one of these things can't be true.
I didn't truly understand. Wait, repeat what you said.
So, a being who is all good, all powerful, and all knowing couldn't exist, because if they were all powerful, then they would be able to destroy evil. If they were all knowing, then they would know how to destroy evil. And if they were all good, then they would want to destroy evil. But evil still exists.
I understand what you're saying, but you know, there's it's actually when we say that God is perfect and God is perfect in all of the subjects and humility and justice. So by example, if God give to every creature that is angel, demons, or humans the free will to act, he cannot give the free will to humans but not give the free will to demons or even Satan. Why? Because it's not just. So for God to be just, he needs to, even if he knows that it's going to do bad and his creation, because he's just, he's giving the same treatment to everyone. So you're free to believe or to follow him or not.
So you think that treating
God with just with one hand can say, okay, I'm just gonna throw out the people that are doing bad stuff, but is it just? Is it just? That's the thing, and I don't believe.
So you think it's unjust to treat people differently?
I think that when you promise someone, when you give, because the free will is a right to every creature of God, and if God, by example, you're gonna say like a judge, by example, in the United States, when like every citizen have rights, even if you did the biggest atrocity ever, you still have your human rights and your civil rights. Your liberty is gone, but you still have some rights. So God gives some rights to every creature. He cannot take it back. So
can God restrict the liberties of these creatures?
What do you mean?
So you said you're differentiating between rights and liberties, that presumably we have the right to have free will because God said so, but of course you believe that sometimes it's okay to restrict the liberties of individuals. So if God like teleported like a rapist into prison, would this be a restriction of his right to free will?
So actually, you know, God did not do not restrain his creature. So you're talking like, of course I did talk about human laws, but you know, in human justice, you're gonna go in prison and not be free. But in God minds, it's not working like that. So God so, and you need to understand that with God, there's spirit and physical form.
Wait. This is like just like none of this is related to any of what I've been asking you about. So maybe I can just ask like a more clear question.
Maybe ask it more.
Does
clear that I can-
God wants us to have free will. Does God want us to have the free will to actually succeed in doing evil things, or does God only want us to have the free will to be able to choose to do evil things?
I think that God wants. So what is written in the Bible is that God wants us to believe in what worship. So in His project. So of course, if we're gonna say God wills is to be in His side and in good harmony with His project.
You're not answering the question at all. Do you even remember what the question was?
You said, is it be so? Do God wants to actually with our will to do bad stuff? This is
No. Which one does God want? Does God want us to have the free will to actually succeed in doing the evil things, or does God just want us to have the free will to like attempt to do an evil thing?
I think that God wants us in the free will to do good.
That's not the question, because He wants us to have the free will to do like good or evil. But does this include the free will to because He wants us to have like the free will, but does that just mean that He wants us to be able to choose to do a bad thing, or that we actually have the free will to succeed in our choice to do a bad thing?
In theology, we need to put both two things. We need to put free will away.
You brought it up.
Wait a second. There's free will, and there's the consciousness of good and bad. It's two things that is different. Because so in the beginning, so if we were talking about, I know that you don't like the first book.
You are still not answering the question. It is a very straightforward. So your answer is one of two things: either succeeds or attempt. If your answer is anything other than attempt or succeed, then you are not answering my question. Does God want us to have the free will to only attempt to do evil things, or does God want us to have the free will to actually succeed in doing evil things?
Neither the both question are not true.
So wait. So then that puts you in an even worse spot. So if God doesn't want us to even have the free will to attempt to do bad things, then why would God give us the free will to attempt to do bad things?
Okay. So so you need to understand, and this is why, and I do understand you don't comprehend, because you're not, and I do a little bit more comprehend, because I do understand, but you don't understand the purpose about it. But this 2 seconds. In the first book of the Torah, it said that when Eden and Eve, I know that there's evolved. I'm just talking about the book. I'm not talking about it's theology, it's metaphysics. I know that we cannot prove it 100% that happened, but we're gonna talk about theology. It's metaphysics.
Just an insane amount of yap. I'm moving on to the next one. Literally not even an attempt to answer the question, just like 5 minutes of like filler. Well, like, you know, I know you don't care about this. Well, you know, didn't even begin to answer the question. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. Let's try to get this all the way up to 200k likes. Make sure you're dropping a follow, doing all that good stuff. Keep on, if you want to support the stream, the Venmo's allegedly-Ian. Cash App is just allegedly Ian. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. I appreciate it. And with that, we can go to the very next guest. Of course, if you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older, that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. How's it going?
Hello.
You are not 18 or older. You gotta be 18 or older. If you're not 18 or older, don't request to join. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
What's up, dude?
Hey, how old are you?
I am 18 freshly.
What year were you born?
2006, August 21st.
Okay. Well, yeah, you are freshly. Elaine, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. Hail, Elaine. Hail, 666. And hail, Satan. Appreciate that, Elaine. Big W for the kangaroos in Australia. What religion?
I'm a Christian, but I choose to follow relationship over religion. I feel like a lot of people get those two mixed up. A lot of people think being a Christian, having a relationship with Jesus Christ is not the same thing. And
Okay.
I think relationship is a lot more important. When you have your good works does not give you to heaven. It's your relationship with Jesus Christ.
Gotcha.
And I just want to ask you, what prompted you to not believe in any sort of God, especially Jesus Christ?
Yeah, just logic. That it is logically incomprehensible that a God of the sort you describe exists, especially given the conditions. So does this God wants a relationship with all of us, as you just said. Can you have a relationship with someone if you don't know that they exist?
Well, we do know that he exists. I could say the same thing logically about, do you believe in the Big Bang?
Yeah, I do, because there's evidence that the Big Bang actually happened. But what's the
Incorrect.
evidence that Jesus is the Son of God?
Well, Jesus lived a perfect life. He lived a sinless life, and he performed miracles in God's name. He died and rose from the dead, and that same power that rose Jesus from the dead lives in you and me.
So
And,
what's the evidence for that?
well,
That he did all these things, that is? What's the historical evidence?
obviously the Bible. You have
Gotcha.
well, please don't get rude with me, man. I'm just trying to have a conversation.
No, it's okay.
So you have in the Bible when Jesus, do you know who saw Jesus rise from the dead first?
Well, that's an issue of contention, because the books actually say a completely different thing. Some say that it was like Mary Magdalene, whereas others will attribute it to like multiple people. So depends who
Well,
you ask.
So it was three women who saw Jesus risen first, and if you want to convince people about a God, you would never use women 2,000 years back, because women were not a trusted source at all. They were the lower class. You would never do that. And you have all his he shows himself to all his disciples, and they willingly die. No one in the history ever willingly dies for a lie. Why?
So what's the evidence that the Bible is true?
Well, because you have a man-made book related on another man's teaching. Well, can I ask you this real quick? Are you denying that Jesus Christ ever existed?
I think he existed. I think he was crucified. I don't think he was the Son of God. So I asked you what the evidence that he was the Son of God was. You told me the Bible, and I'm just asking you what the evidence that the Bible is true.
I just want to get that out of the way. So Jesus is the Son of God because, again, the Bible was written 2,000 years ago by men that followed Jesus Christ, and there is no teaching in the Bible that cannot significantly make your life better.
Well, that's okay. That's not true.
That's very true, actually.
Gotcha. Should we kill kids because they're lazy?
I'm actually pro-choice. So, if you're talking about abortion,
based? No, but like if your like actual like born child is lazy, but based?
Born child,
Yeah.
lazy, killing a lazy kid.
It says in Deuteronomy that if your kid is like kind of a deadbeat, that you should bring them into the town center.
What is Deuteronomy?
The Bible.
So, could you quote that scripture for me?
Yeah. Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 21:18 through 21. If someone is a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey his father and mother, who does not heed them when they discipline him, then his father and his mother shall take hold of him and bring out the elders of the town at the gate of that place. They shall say to the elders of his town, "This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey us. He's a glutton and a drunkard." Then all the men of the town shall stone him to death. So you shall purge the evil from your midst, and all Israel will hear and be afraid.
That is out of context. What's
the context?
Well, it's not a quote from Jesus Christ.
Oh, but it's the Bible.
Well, in the Bible, it's stories. A lot of verses can be taken out of context when Jesus talks about the evil and the evil in the world. He tells stories about evil people. He tells a story how evil turned good, and that's just completely out of context.
Wait, so what's the context?
Well, I couldn't tell you the context. I don't know that verse off the top of my head, but I do know that Jesus would never and ever in the Bible would it say anything like that. So
Yeah,
what I want to
so
tell you,
because
Go
so
ahead.
this what Deuteronomy is it's like a set of laws to govern these people. This was one of the laws given by God for how these people ought to conduct themselves. So this is a principle that I'd be taking from the Bible,
Incorrect. The
which if I
laws-
applied to my
law-
life would make me morally monstrous.
Incorrect. The laws that guide the people are the Ten Commandments, and that's just incorrect. That's a reach.
What do you think Deuteronomy is?
Well, I'm just telling you that's a I feel like you know that too. That's not a teaching. That is not a teaching.
It is. It's literally there in Deuteronomy 21:18 through 21. And I understand that you don't like it, but this is something that the Bible says.
All right. Sure. We can. You can have that one. You know, I'm not the most. You're not talking to an expert here, so I'm just trying my best.
That's okay. You're chilling.
Can you have you ever been to church?
Yeah, I was raised Christian. I was baptized. I did all the things.
Yeah, it's usually how it goes, man. What turned you away from God? I mean, was it science? Logic and science.
Yeah, well, someone just gave me an argument, and then I realized, oh, of course, like this is nonsense.
I mean, don't you think, like, you saying that it's logic? I mean, we already talked about this. Okay, I just want to know. I mean, have you ever truly sought out Jesus Christ?
Oh yeah, multiple times on stream. In fact, we've stopped and we've prayed, and Jesus just doesn't show up. So, no signs, no symbols, no feelings, no nothing.
That's not how it works.
How does it work?
Well, you're obviously an atheist. I feel like if you were praying on stream with all these people, Jesus doesn't show himself to you if you're in a crowd. And
Is
I
he
mean,
camera shy?
Well, that's not what I mean at all. Were you praying with your heart? Were you praying with affection? Were you praying with belief that Jesus Christ would answer your prayer?
Well, I was praying with openness that he might answer my prayer.
Okay. Well, when God was on the cross, when Jesus Christ was on the cross, there was a man next to him that asked him. They said, "If you are the Son of God, get us out of these crosses. Save us right now." But he didn't. You cannot tempt God. That's not how it works. You cannot test him. You cannot tempt him. It's just not how it works. It's not love. That's not a relationship.
Okay, so what did Jesus say to the thief?
The thief? Well, are you talking about the thief on the cross?
Yeah, on the thief on the cross. What did he say to the thief on the cross?
Well, the thief on the cross next to him, the other man next to him he said, "Jesus, will you remember me remember me?" This guy was, a sinner, never, lived a very sinful life, never really had a relationship with God. But in that dying moment on the cross, he asked Jesus to remember him in his kingdom, and giving with his heart. I mean, he truly believed that Jesus was the Son of God, because Jesus was up on these cross with bad people, but Jesus lived a perfect life. Why was Jesus up on this cross if he lived a perfect life?
Wait, but what did he say? What were his exact words to the thief?
"I will remember you in my kingdom of heaven."
It's today we will be in heaven together, or something along those lines.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah. So did Jesus go back to heaven that same day?
So that's not something I'm very I can give you what I've
The answer is no, he didn't, which means that the statement today I'll be in heaven with you is not true.
Well, no. So let me tell you what I know. Jesus, sure, we can say Jesus went to heaven that day. Again, I would have to look into that scripture because I'm not too sure on that. But I mean, yeah, I mean, that thief went to heaven. He gave his life to Christ, and yeah, I mean, I don't know if Christ went to heaven. I don't know if he stayed and rose again 3 days later and then ascended to heaven 40 days later. I truly don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that. But I mean, that's a good question. I don't know.
Gotcha. So there's no evidence, there's no scripture that supports that he went back to heaven, which would make the statement, today you will be in heaven, just straightforward, or like today we'll be in like paradise together, straightforwardly false. Also, Grimlock, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. That's a good answer, that God turned Grimlock away from God. W Grimlock, hail Grimlock, hail 666, hail Satan. I appreciate that, Grimlock. Thank you so much.
Is there anything else? I mean, coming from, me, I'm 18 years old. I mean, I believe in Jesus Christ, but again, I'm not the smartest guy you're talking to, but any questions you want to ask me?
Sure. I love asking Christians questions. Why did God say it's okay to own slaves?
Could you...
Leviticus 25:44 through 46, he says, of your male and female slaves, they are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. Fuck, I should memorize this. I say it so much. I might as well. Leviticus 25. Let's get a real version up in here. The NRSVUE. Fuck yeah, let's go. 25:44. As for your male and female slaves, whom you may have, it is from the nations round you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from the aliens residing with you and from their families who are with you, who have been born in your land. They may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves, but as for your fellow Israelites, no one shall rule over the other with harshness.
Is that, if I'm correct, is that the Old Testament?
Yeah, it's in the Hebrew Bible, but it's the same God. I mean, if slavery was always wrong, including right now, then that means that God did something that was unjust.
Well, okay. Well, you're reading for the Old Testament. You're obviously trying to, just put it on a different way. I feel like we both know that.
Did God ever say anything? Did God ever allow anything unjust? Like give his express permission to people? I guess, like, did God ever do anything unjust?
Unjustly, like sinful?
Or no, just like unjust, like wrong. Did God ever do anything wrong?
Well, are you asking me, would you qualify wrong as a sin? What do you mean by wrong?
Not really.
Well, what do you mean by
just
wrong?
Like immoral?
Immoral? No, he lived a perfect, sinful life.
Okay, gotcha. So then, do you agree that slavery was always wrong?
As me, yes. I mean, slavery's horrible.
Yeah, so then God was wrong when he said that it's okay to do slavery.
Again, I would have to look into it. Not too experienced with the Old Testament, but I do know that if you're reading from, all right, yeah, I can see.
Do you have anything else?
How much time? I mean, do you do this? Do you research God a lot? I mean, is this?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's like the main thing that I research. In fact, yeah, I read tons of papers about this subject. Yeah.
Are you would you ever be open to have a relationship with Jesus Christ?
Of course, I'm open right now, but what I need is evidence that he actually existed, or that he actually is the Son of God. I can't form a relationship with someone based on like faith that they exist. I need to actually know that the other person in the relationship exists. Grimlock, thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. Hail Grimlock. Hail 666. Hail Satan. Big W Grimlock in that comment. I appreciate the hell out of that. Thank you. Of course, if Jesus exists, I would love to know about his existence, and I'd love to have a relationship with him if he does exist. Problem is, I just need to know that he exists, and I have no reason to think that.
Well, I mean, he's good. I mean, we're talking to each other. Is that not proof enough? I mean, this world is so...
Fuck no. Why would that be proof?
Well, I mean, we are our own human beings with consciousness, and the world is so, precisely made. I mean, do you really think it came from, an accident?
Not, I don't know if I'd describe it as like an accident, but what I would describe it as is just like a chain of events that eventually culminated in the existence of life. I I think I reject like the fine tuning argument because we don't know what the likelihood is that it would be anything different. Additionally, the fact that I think the universe has always existed means that life is just an inevitability insofar as the universe is always changing. So I just don't find these arguments as being very convincing.
Yeah. Like I said, man, I would love for you to talk to someone that's more experienced than me in the aspect.
Okay.
Because I'm still trying to get there, but I mean, why when you say things like, hail,
Yeah.
when that guy gives you the sub, I mean, does that not go back on your word that you truly do want a relationship with Jesus Christ?
Someone in the comment section noticed it too. Talk to a mentioned. I was literally thinking, does it? No. No, not at all.
Well,
I don't believe in Satan either.
Yeah, so you're just trying to
Yeah, it's provocative. Gets the people going.
Yeah. Kanye West is actually Christian.
Thanks for getting the reference.
No problem, man. Kanye's my guy.
Oh, maybe I don't know if I'd go that far.
Love Kanye.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well, I don't know, man. It's good talking to you. I have, I'll pray for you. I love you, man. Jesus loves you, and I hope you can ask Jesus to open your eyes, man. He's got a lot to give, and I feel like, you got a whole outlook on life that you haven't, tapped into yet, and it's beautiful, man. It saved my life, and I was a sinner. I was a lustful man. I was, easily, lured into sin and temptation, and I didn't think there's a way out of it, and I didn't want to give it up. Truly, I wanted to. I know you said no personal experience. I don't know why. Let me just finish this.
No, please. Yeah, I mean, I used to be like you. I used to be a Christian, and then I thought about it a bit harder. So, same to you. I hope one day you discover, you pick up like a Graham Oppie book, and then realize the errors of your way.
Oh, it's no errors, man. I hope, but I hope you can be saved, man. But I want you to. I really want you to open up, man. I feel like you're hiding something. I feel like you're.
I'm actually 3 raccoons in a trench coat.
Look, man. If you're gonna be disrespectful and funny, it's just no point.
I just don't know what am I supposed to do when you accuse me of like hiding something?
Let me word that differently. I feel like you got I feel like you're turned off to the fact of Jesus, and I feel like you're lying. I feel like you don't want a relationship with him, and I feel like if you did open up and you did pray to him with all your heart and truly believed, because there is a lot of evidence out there. I can't quote every single one, but I hope you can research the evidence.
Listen, buddy, if it were true, if it were truly the case that I'm going to be tortured forever after I die if I don't form a relationship with Jesus, of course I would form a relationship with Jesus. I just have no evidence that that's the case.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a great... you can... that's why God gave us free will, man. Make your own choices. But...
Why would God give us free will but no evidence?
Well,
all
God
the evidence
gave us...
is like super flimsy.
No, I could disagree with that.
I just don't think that there's any like hard evidence.
Again, I disagree. I disagree. That's just how I am. But God gave us free will. He's a loving God, man. He loves you so much that he gives you the choice whether to follow him or not. I mean, that's why that's why you can do what you do, and that's why you can live the life that you live. Not in any harmful way, but believe what you believe. It's free will, and God gave that to you.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else? Otherwise, I'm gonna move on to the next guest.
Nah, man. Just have a good rest of your day, man. Love you.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on up here. Thanks. Make sure you are. Make sure you're dropping a follow if you're enjoying the debates. If you want to join the community, if you want to learn more about philosophy, if you want to get cracked and all that stuff, all that jazz. Make sure you're joining that Discord. The link to the Discord's in my bio. I notify you every time that I go live. It's discord.gg/allegedlyian. I'm very active in there. I hang out in VC all the time. I send messages in there all the time. I love reading through the current discourse in my server. It's just a really great time. We do a book club if you want to get better at philosophy. If you're not sure where to start with philosophy, we have a book club where we read through a philosophical paper. We all go through it and discuss it together. This week we're reading one about presuppositional apologetics. It's going to be for our reading group at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And that's happening on Saturday. So if you're at all interested in that, please feel free to roll up. I'd love to see you there. We do bingo there. It's just a great time. Other than that, I'm ending stream, so I'm going to send you over to Dean. Dean is currently live on It's Dean 2A's 2N's. So let's all go over and raid Dean. I love all of you. Thank you all so much for spending this time with me. Sammy, thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, also Double Down. Thank you so much for the $6.66 on Cash App. Hail Double Down. Hail 666. Hail Satan. Big W Double Down. I appreciate the hell out of you. If you didn't get to it, if I didn't get to you, I'm sorry.